Конечно, жестко. Я, короче, купил игру Супер Seducer со всеми DLC. Это, конечно, DLC, они такие жесткие. Это что-то очень похоже на какую-то, на покупку какого-то инфокурса. Ну, просто это какая-то жесть. Похоже на какой-то... Ну, зацените вот это. Вот, смотрите, вот я нажимаю играть. Бонус видео 1. Открывается файл, который лежит у меня на жестком диске. Так. И тут тренинг, как реализовать твою ценность. Первый модуль.
Module 1 is all about knowing your value and being secure. And feeling insecure is an issue that a lot of guys experience and can really hold them back. And I'm wondering, from your experience of working with guys, when a guy is insecure in himself and
то есть, получается, он про метод мистери рассказывает.
He's talking to
Книга The Game.
a girl or he's in an interaction. What does that look like? And what does that sound like when that's
пиджак на майку.
A lot of guys that I've worked with, and I was guilty of this in the past as well. A lot of guys underestimate.
Вот ты это отрастил волосы, они не уложены. Конечно, я сам так же ходил, когда был молод. У меня такие тоже волосы были, даже еще длиннее, чем у него. Но почему волосы не уложил-то?
Make their value, and they kind of amplify the negative things about themselves or the perceived negative things. They might even invent things about themselves, and they not only do that, but they increase the value of women. You know, so a beautiful girl is, you know, just going to be perfect. She's not going to have any problems.
Ну, то есть он рассказывает про метод мистери, демонстрация вашей ценности. У нас что-то близкое, это называется альфа-директ. Это когда у тебя там крутая машина, крутой бизнес, и ты говоришь девушке: все, вот у меня есть бабки, у меня есть бизнес, у меня есть тачка, пошли это ко мне домой. Вот это альфа-директ. И ты таким методом какой-то процент девушек на первом же свидании соблазняешь. Но это не со всеми работает.
So it kind of goes both ways, and it creates this situation where the guy's down here in his mind, and he's putting the girl up there in his mind as well, and that
Я
can
купил,
create
короче,
some tough things. But it's very
Это
rare
такой
to meet
кринж,
a
он
guy
даже в игру
that
не
is
встроил
learning
видео,
about
не
pickup, that
поленился.
is as confident as he should be.
Просто на жестком
And
диске у
so
меня
many times
его
I'm
файлики.
sure a lot of guys, you know, have friends that are just confident, and they look at their lives. There's nothing special in their lives that, you know, they should be confident about, but they are just confident. So it's something that I think is a big.
Это реально серьезно, что DLC в игре это аудиофайл. Ладно, надо все это изучить, чтобы понять все секреты. Что, ну вот я изучал перед тем, как познакомиться с Машей, вот эту игру, анализировал, тренировался, заучивал там эти методики его, и мне получилось познакомиться с Машей. Мы с ней погуляли на первом свидании, потом пригласил ее в кино она не захотела, мы покушали пиццу в торговом центре, потом уже пошли в Додо-пиццу, много гуляли, общались. Но девушка, она еще так и не стала. Она сказала мне: давай останемся друзьями. Так что я, наверное, не все курсы прошел, поэтому я, короче, решил купить все DLC у этого пикап-мастера. И сейчас мы смотрим видеофайл с моего жесткого диска. Пока это что-то похоже на метод мистери. Ну, в принципе, он даже без укладки, он очень красивый. И зубы у него классные.
You know, if you don't think you deserve to have a beautiful girlfriend, you're just not going to get one.
So, yeah, module 1 is all about knowing your value and being secure.
Ничего себе, что это такое? Ошейник, что ли?
Not feeling secure, being insecure is an issue that a lot of guys
жестко он делает. Смотрите, как одевается. Это сильно называется павлинить. Тоже это чисто из метода мистери. Когда девушка видит такого парня, одетого в такую одежду, она думает: нифига себе, ему еще не дали пиздюлей. Надо ему дать. Потому что если бы у нас в такой одежде бы какой-нибудь инцел вышел, ему просто гопники бы его бы избили.
What are some of the things that you've seen when a guy is insecure and feels insecure in himself when he's talking to a girl or when he's in an interaction?
So if for whatever reason you're feeling weak when you greet a woman, she feels that. She feels the weakness.
Так,
Whether it's you've
ну тоже симпатичный тренер. Вот на этот раз у него уложенная эта
just
прическа.
received a horrible bit of news, or
То есть уложенная прическа и это, по-моему, барбершоп еще. И да, и одета тоже, это все из секты Мистери.
whether it's just you're not confident
А может ты фокусы покажешь, научишь фокусы
in
делать?
yourself in this time in your life. She picks it up, whether you like it or not, no matter how good an actor you are, no matter what sort of front you display. I don't think
Ну не знаю, что-то у всех волосы до плеч. Вы не представляете, какой гемор, я такие волосы длинные носил, не представляете, какой гемор их укладывать. А потом какой ветер подует, и все твои старания пропадают зря, и ты это, как бомж начинаешь ходить.
it matters.
Я один раз как-то пошел с пляжа, у меня волосы это не уложены. Мне один человек сказал: хочешь, я дам денег тебе на парикмахерскую?
I think what really comes across is
То есть эта прическа вообще там, такой гемор с этой прической, длинными волосами. Просто кошмар.
those subconscious motives.
Difference between a guy that is secure and not secure in a club when you're looking at him is pretty plain to see. A guy that is not secure, and I know from personal experience, I used to be very, very insecure standing in a nightclub. You'll have something where you just start to worry about something. It might be, that you've got a spot on your face, or it might be that, you don't know if you should dance or not, or you don't know what to do. You'll have some kind of, insecurity coming through, and then it all just snowballs, because then you become self-aware, and then you're like, oh no, my hands are sweating, and it just gets bigger and bigger. And then, of course, you're totally inwardly focused. All of the nervousness
Значит, надо еще сходить к стоматологу, отбелить зубы, получается.
comes out, and you're just not in a very good place to then be sociable, because you're just so focused on yourself. Someone that is secure, you can tell that they're not thinking about themselves at all. They're just focused on the environment, and it's very apparent that they come into the room, and instead of thinking, oh, what about me, they're thinking, what's going on here? Who's over there? Look at that girl over there. And
А этот парень, по-моему, вообще не парится, он это просто бороду не бреет лезвием, он ее бреет это триммером.
It all just, it flows, because they're in the right space. They're thinking about the environment, the people. They're externally focused, so they can be sociable from that position. And it's very easy to see. Probably the best example is to see someone that maybe works in the nightclub.
Какой же он зануда,
Because they'll be totally relaxed and comfortable, not at all thinking about themselves or insecure.
Ладно, посмотрим, что там в PDF-файле содержится. Под PDF-файле. Бонус видео 1. Что там в PDF-файле? PDF-файл. Как его вообще открыть-то? Да ладно. Я не знаю, как его открыть. У меня нету этого Adobe Reader или аналога. Надо еще книжку эту открывать.
It just shows through,
Кошмар.
you can just look at him and know that he's thinking about this stuff, and that from that position he's just, he's not going to get anywhere until he changes that.
Let's say
Ну вот это, короче, в чем идея этого реализации твоей ценности? Женщина любит ценных мужчин, поэтому ты демонстрируешь свою ценность, допустим, показываешь там фокус, либо вот подходишь к девушке, к девушке и видишь, вокруг нее люди стоят. Сначала разговариваешь с людьми, располагаешь их к себе, девушка уже видит, что как на тебя реагирует такое окружение, уже по-другому с тобой знакомиться. Вот пример. Тоже метод мистери.
a guy is talking to a girl or he's in an interaction and he doesn't get a response that's positive, or it's not a favourable response, then there's a big difference between a guy who's secure in himself and feels secure in who he is, and a guy who feels insecure. What have you noticed about how that plays out?
Ну да, у меня такие были длинные волосы, я с ними намучился с этой укладкой. И никак они не влияли на это, на знакомство. Что когда я лысый был, что когда был с такими волосами, никакой разницы не было.
Affects things hugely. You know, a woman will react in different ways. You know, it's not always going to be positive, but a guy that is not secure, it is very important to him what a woman thinks, and her response to him, if it's not positive, will dictate his mood. You know, and he'll interpret it. He'll blow it out of all proportion. You know, she thinks I'm terrible. She thinks I'm ugly. She hates me. She thinks I'm a loser. No, probably not. You know, she has a boyfriend. She's busy, or even she was just being challenging. You know, not easy, not a pushover, to see what you've got, to see if you can, you know, overcome it. So that's more like, you know, the spin that a guy that is secure, he'd approach that situation. He doesn't need anything from that woman because he's cool with himself. You know, he doesn't need her to say, yes, I like you, to be happy. And if she says something that isn't positive, he's likely to spin it either as being her fault. You know, well, what does she know? Blaming the circumstance, you know, it's just not the right time for whatever reason. And just generally find a way for it not to matter at all. And that allows him to approach, you know, a woman right after and still be just as, you know, as secure with himself. The first guy, when he's, you know, been hit with something that is even just slightly negative, he might not come back from that, and then that will ruin his.
Ну, легко говорить о соблазнении женщин с такой внешностью, как у него.
Day, you know, and God knows when he'll approach again. So, again, that's a huge thing, and it's to do with, you know, amplifying that response, and you know, a guy that is secure, he's going to get way better results just from being able to bounce back from that, because you are going to have knocks along the way.
Firstly, as I said, he won't take the woman's reaction off the bat, whatever it is, seriously, because he's so secure. He has so much value. He'll even snicker at what's going on. As I said, whether it's the most positive reaction or whether it's the most negative.
Почему оператор показывает лицо крупным планом, я не понимаю.
Reaction. It has nothing to do with how he is affected by that moment. So he's completely zen within himself. And the more I go on in game and the more interactions I have, the more I find myself naturally being like that.
Главный инцел
At one
пришел
point
спать.
in my life, I would have been completely affected by it and completely caught up in that moment with her, i.e. she's leading
так и не
the
нашел
vibe,
свою
she's
кошечку.
leading the atmosphere, and therefore there's nothing that would be sexually attractive about that. If she gave me a negative reaction, I would then be...
Как же это занудно, а? Ну, я уже всю идею этой реализации ценностей уже в 2 словах выдал. То есть надо просто показать твою ценность для женщины. И все. Ты показываешь ее ценность. Ну, в первое время это очень тяжело об этом думать. А потом уже, когда ты уже оказываешься явно полезным для женщин, ну, допустим, настроишь компьютер, сделаешь массаж, то уже это уже само собой же становится очевидным, чем ты можешь быть полезен. То есть тебе нужно показывать свою ценность. То есть быть, грубо говоря, он учит быть полезным для женщины. Ну, то есть как учит система, что она принцесса, а ты обслуга.
That on myself, I would blame it on the fact that I wasn't good looking enough, the fact that I was maybe not.
Главный инцел уже недовольно хвостом машет от такого учения и уже когти выпустил.
Fit enough for in whatever way for her, so I would completely judge myself upon her little quirky mood swings.
One consequence of guys feeling insecure, or a guy feeling insecure, is caring too much what other people think, or overly caring what a girl thinks, and maybe even complete strangers as well. And
Капец, какой душный DLC. Я только 8 минут прослушал. Ты что там, он целый час, что ли, рассказывает про реализацию его ценности?
I'm wondering what you've noticed about guys who care too much what other people think and how that plays out in interactions.
Ладно. Я все-таки познакомился с Машей. У нас были 2 свидания, так что, наверное, я просто не знал всю информацию, всю теорию. Так что продолжаем изучать это. Надо терпеть. Просто терпеть и слушать эту нудятину.
When we train guys,
А так, в принципе, ничего нового не рассказывает. Просто метод mystery. Просто покупаешь книжку The Game Style, и там все популярно сказано. А потом, если не догон, можно метод mystery почитать.
and again, this is something that was quite big for me when I first started. Something quite common is that they'll be in a situation like a coffee shop or a bar, and there'll be a girl that needs to be talked to. You know, they like her, they want to talk to her, and they're worried about the other people in the room because they're going to hear the conversation. The other people in the bar because they're going to hear what happens, and something bad might happen, and they're going to see it. You know, what if that happens? That would be terrible. So they even, that's kind of the most extreme thing, because it's someone that is a stranger that you're never going to see again. That's not part of the interaction, and you still care what they think. The other level up from that is, the girl herself. If this, the chances that you're going to bump into her again in the bar are pretty low. So you've got nothing to lose, but still guys will really, really care what she thinks. I think that it was big for me, and I think it held me back from some approaches and things in the early days. And I can see, students that they'll look at the girl and then they'll look at the other people around and they're like, I'm not going to do it. But maybe it's just another of those excuses, that guys come up with. But a secure guy obviously does not care what a stranger, total stranger, some random person, why would they give that person credit? Why would that person's view of them be important? But I remember I used to walk down the road and I'd hear people laughing and I'd be like, are they laughing at me? And you can interpret everything negatively and care what everyone thinks. And I think that's something a lot of guys do, but obviously it can be a bit of a killer when it comes to game. A different example would be in a relationship. Maybe you're dating a girl, you've been on a few dates with her, and you say, I really like you, you're really pretty. And I think I used to do that, and I know guys that do that, but they're doing it for the wrong reason. They want to get the response, which is, I like you too, and they're like, oh great, the validation, or oh yeah, you're pretty too, whatever. They're looking for a compliment. And that would be another time where, caring what someone thinks is a really big deal.
Вот видите, как волосы закручиваются, вот как это меня бесило. Вот я просыпаюсь утром, а вот все кончики вот так вот закручиваются. Я потом как мучился с выпрямлением этих волос, просто как я мучился. Все, лысина — это самый топ. Вот как я мучился, так у меня точно такая же прическа была, как у него. Мне это бесило. А он даже не парится, он просто с такими волосами незавитыми пришел на интервью.
Welcome to Module 1, which is all about...
Стандартная пикаперская одежда. Джинсы, рубашка, еще, наверное, часов не хватает, рубашка расстегнута, грудь, по-моему, выбрита, барбершоп, волосы покрашены, плюс еще прическа. Это барбершоп, прическа, покрашенная и прическа, то есть парикмахер. То есть он внешний вид, он задонатил какую-то сумму.
Realizing your value. Got some questions for you. How many of you?
Это что, проект РМС, что ли? Сзади там плакат, тут тренер какой-то. Это что, русская модель эффективного соблазнения, что ли? Куда я попал?
Have experienced being with a woman you find attractive, being with a hot girl, and when you're with her, all of a sudden you feel like you're worth less. You've had that kind of experience. You feel like your value goes down or has gone down. Yeah. Like I remember when...
Ладно, книжку читать не буду. У меня, с одной стороны, лень читать ее. Во-вторых, у меня программы нету для чтения PDF-файла.
You know, in
Я
the
ни
past,
разу не открывал
it'd
PDF-файл.
be like, you know, I'd maybe meet a girl, and she'd be, especially if she
Не
was
было
really
необходимости в этом.
attractive, really beautiful, and all of a sudden I'd feel like, oh, you know, I'm so grateful she's talking to me. Or, you know, like her time's worth more than mine. Or, you know, she's
А я не
worth...
понял. А это... Вот смотри. Вот у меня есть две книжки. 1-2. Есть реализация ценности, первая часть. Есть small, есть аудио. А, понял. Это типа слушать на устройстве. А это типа для тех, кому лень слушать. Ну ладно, я люблю такие вещи. Я так что послушаю полностью.
more than I am. And I remember having those feelings of like, and it was like my own value drained
А
away.
то что-то отношения с Машей никак не продвигается. Она так как 3 года или 4 года меня держит в френд-зоне, так и дальше ничего не продвигается. Наверное, я просто не знаю всю теорию этого суперседюсера.
It dropped through the floor, and all of a sudden I
Короче,
felt like she
это, короче, первый DLC данной игры.
was more valuable than me, something like that. So I don't know if you've had that kind of experience where maybe you're talking to someone and all of a sudden you don't feel as valuable as them, or you don't feel like you're as worthwhile as them. Or maybe you've had an experience, how many of you have had this? And maybe not now, but even in the past, where you care too much what she thinks. Or, you know, it's like, I even remember having a conversation with a girl, and I was telling her about something, and she sort of disagreed with me, so I changed my mind. You ever had that kind of experience? Where, you know, you change your mind to fit in with a girl, or you fit...
Ну, этот парень не симпатичный, его вытягивает только вот эта рубашка, правда, какая-то не самая такая топовая прическа, и барбершоп его вытягивает, конечно. А так вообще некрасивый парень.
With what she thinks, because we could say that's like being a bit insecure about who you are, or what you stand for, or what's real for you. Well, one of the things this module's about is about actually realizing...
Голубоглазый скуф учит тебя показывать свою ценность для женщин. Да. Он в барбершоп сходил, покрасился, постригся красиво. А все ради чего? Ради того, чтобы мыть там полы, посуду там мыть. И, короче, всю зарплату относить своей женщине. Все ради чего? Столько стараний. Ну вот это, реализация ценностей есть. Вот будь прислугой женщины и давай деньги. И вот все это реализация ценностей. Самый такой превентивный уровень. Более продвинутый уже можно какие-то фокусы там показывать, как в мистере. То есть, ну, это надо там заморочиться, научиться, тренироваться этому постоянно. Скилл нарабатывать.
You actually stop caring what other people think. You know, and this, like how many of you, even, you know, just out there in the world, it would benefit you if you actually cared less what other people think.
Так, это интересно. Вот 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 учеников уже тут уже на курс. Курс называется «Реализация твоей ценности». Да, ничего себе, какое роскошное помещение взяли. Так, тут еды никакой, напитков нету. По-моему, в этом заведении постоянно такие тренинги проводятся. Один у нас лысенький, другой нормальный такой, это черненький. Так, одеты они как так средне. Вот какой-то скуф. Ну, короче, мужики лет под 40, под 30 пришли учиться девочек соблазнять. Все как РМС. Такие же стулья.
Right? I mean, it's usually a very attractive quality, a guy who is secure in himself. Women are attracted to that. Yet, of course, the question is, well, how do you
То есть, что реально, что ли, мне дали пикаперский курс вместе с игрой?
be that? How do you do that?
Это что, инфобизнес, но next нового уровня? Типа сначала поиграй в игру, потом это DLC, тебе пикап тренинг.
And one of the things is about guys who are really successful with women, They live in their reality. It's like they've got a reality and it's constructed and they're secure in it. And that's their frame or that's their reality. One of the things is that we all live in a reality which is constructed by us. Reality is created inside you. Now, it doesn't seem like that, because of course stuff's happening in the world, so how could it be created inside you? And one of the things I'm just going to answer right now is to demonstrate to you why, whatever your experience is.
Ты еще Вадима Зеланда там скажи. Вот есть книжка такая русская, Вадим Зеланд. Давай читай все 5 книг и занимайся там трансерфингом, реализуй свою реальность.
It's created inside you, and it's happening inside you. The great thing about that is, once you really get that, then you can begin to change it. And you can start to change your reality. Because whatever's happening on the outside of your...
Окей, я пошел качать трансерфинг реальность с торрентов и буду, менять свою реальность. Все, понял. Надо менять реальность. Вот почему. То есть в этой реальности мне Маш не дает. Но это просто реальность сменить, и в другой реальности Маша мне даст.
Really
то есть в этой реальности Маша не дает. А в другой реальности, скорее всего, все заколосится. Понял, надо просто уйти в другую реальность. Все, надо, качаем Вадима Зеланда и уходим в реальность другую. Я понял свою ошибку.
So I just want to ask you the question, what is real?
Ну вот все, что это есть, это реально, по-моему.
So, we're going to think about what is actually real.
Да, все, что тебя окружает, оно реально. Или ты в этом не уверен?
And how your experience of the world is really a result of stuff that's going on inside you. So I'm just going to show you a picture, and I want you to have a look at this one.
Ты бы свет пригасил, потому что при таком освещении, то, что происходит на экране, ничего не видно.
And I'm going to ask Gambler to come and press a button. He said, "Oh, we'll have time to eat my pizza, won't I? We'll have time to eat my pizza." I want you to have a look at this picture.
Цветочки.
And I want you to tell me what someone just shout out what the picture's of.
Я вижу цветочки.
Flowers. Okay, we got flowers. Yeah. Anyone describe it differently to flowers?
Да ладно, ты тоже видишь цветочки.
Sometimes people say plants or weeds, triffids, Jack and the Beanstalk. I don't know. Most people seeing something that would fit into those descriptions? Yeah, does that seem good? Okay. I want to show you something else. S E X.
Я не вижу это SASS. Секс, что ли?
Can everyone see the word sex there?
Я не вижу слова секс.
If you can't, it's in the white space. There's an S there, there's an E there, there's an X there. In fact,
я не вижу тут слова секс. Это какой-то приход у тебя от видс.
Look at it now and try not to see the word sex. Try not to see it. Yet, a minute ago, what you were looking at was flowers or plants or whatever it was. And none of you could see that. There was some information that was right there in front of you, yet you didn't see it. And now when you look at it, it means something else entirely different, right? And in fact, when you look at that, you can't not see the word sex on it. Like, even if you try not to, you can't not be aware of it, right? So one of the things is, and there could really be some experiences you have on this program that change your awareness so much that at the end of it, you can't not be aware of things. That you can't not be different from how you've been. But one of the things to consider is, so when you're out there in the world, what is all the information that's out there that you're not seeing? That's right in front of you, but literally you don't notice it. It's not there. And when you do know about it, or you do experience it, then you can't not be aware of it in the future. Well, think about that when it comes to interacting with women. What are all the things that you're not even noticing? But you wouldn't know what they are, of course, because you don't know it's there. Okay. Just have a look at this.
Ну, такое бывает, это когда ты в интернете очень много сидишь, у тебя почему-то одна левая рука печатает букву раньше, чем другую, и они, короче, местами переставляются. Не знаю, почему такая ошибка возникает у меня, но мозг все равно это выправляет. Просто тут это буквы местами переставлены. Ну, то есть, когда печатаешь, в принципе, когда я печатаю сообщения на русском языке, то тоже такие бывают глюки, что буквы перескакивают местами, но все равно понятно. И что? Вот я страдаю от такого, когда печатаю сообщение, у меня вечно буквы перескакивают местами. Ну, все понятно, да.
Would I be right in saying that most of you can read that and make sense of it?
Да, можно читать, но
Even though
неприятно.
nearly all of the words are actually spelled incorrectly. Yet you can read it and you can make sense of it. And when you look at those words, you actually know what the word's supposed to be, right? Because if the first letter and the last letter are right, and the letters in the middle are roughly the right ones in a different order, then you can fit the word into what you think it should be. We've got this ability to generalize, which basically means that when we know what something should look like, if we see information that's close to it, then we fit it into what our reality is. So your reality is you've got rules for how those words fit together. And when you see the letters in the wrong order, you change what you see to make it into the right word, so that what you're seeing actually looks like a real word that you know about. Would you be able to do that if you didn't know the words? You wouldn't, right? You have to know the words first. So what you're doing is you're actually fitting what you see, you're fitting what you experience into your own world. Well, that's what's happening when you go out and you interact with people. You've got beliefs about things that you think are true. You've got beliefs about yourself that you think are true. You've got beliefs about other people and what they want. And whatever those beliefs are, you will fit what happens into those beliefs. So if a guy thinks he's not attractive, say he really believes that in himself, like he really doesn't believe that he's actually an attractive person. Well, anything that happens automatically fits into the I'm not attractive bit. You know, who knows what else was happening for her? Who knows what was going on? But it all gets put down to I'm not attractive. And so he gets to fit in what he experiences into that, and it becomes reality. Have a look at these two. And I just want you to consider to look at the X's look at the x's, which x is the darker colour? And if you think the x on the left is darker, just put your hand up. And if you think the x on the right is darker, put your hand up. Okay. Just look at the very top where the two squares join.
Кстати, я заметил, у него такой прикольный британский акцент.
Those are exactly the same. Those are exactly the same. But depending what the background is that you put it against, depends what it looks like. The background could be what's going on inside your mind. And depending on what background something you experience goes against, it depends how it looks. Yet you look at it, or we look at it, and we think that was darker and that was lighter. And if I'm pretty sure that we could have all been fairly certain of that. And if I'd have just flicked on the slide, you'd have gone, yeah, it's darker. That's what it is. Okay, just have a look at this girl here. Put your hand up if she's spinning clockwise. Put your hand up if she's spinning anti-clockwise.
По часовой, мне кажется.
Half the guys in the room think she's spinning clockwise. Put your hand up if she's spinning clockwise. Yeah, you're definitely sure of that, yeah? You can see it, can't you? Put your hand up if she's spinning anti-clockwise. And you guys are definitely sure of that, right? She is spinning anti-clockwise, isn't she? Yeah? Or she keeps changing. Yeah. If you want to get it to change, just bring your hand down so that all you can see are basically just below the knees. And then just start to see the feet going around in a different direction. And when you see the feet going round in a different direction, then bring your hand up. So just look from below the knees downwards, just see the feet going in a different direction, and then bring your hand back up and see the rest of it going round.
Не знаю, так и так она по часовой мне идет.
That's messed up, isn't it? That is messed up. Now here's the thing. Imagine if I'd put that up and said, just decide which way she's spinning, and then moved on. Some of you would have been absolutely certain that she was spinning clockwise, and some of you would have been absolutely certain she was spinning anti-clockwise. Yeah? I mean, I've put this up before and had people get into an argument about which way she's spinning. Because one guy's totally certain that it's clockwise, and the other guy's totally certain that it's anti-clockwise. Yeah. You might now realise that it's both. And neither. Because that's just something that you can see. And it's what's happening inside you that means that you see it one way or the other. And it would be really easy to mistake what you saw for being what it actually is. It'd be really easy to think, well, I saw it clockwise, that's what it is. Or I saw it anti-clockwise, that's what it is. Yet, it's really about how you're perceiving it. What's going on inside your mind that means you see it one way or the other, or both, or neither. Well, what are all the situations in life where you've been thinking that you're not as worthwhile or you're not as valuable? And it's just what's going on inside your head. It's not real. It's just a construction. Reality is created inside you. Have a look at this. Just final couple of slides here. Just want you to decide what it is. A picture of.
Это какая-то мазня. Клякса.
An ancient Roman with something on his head. All
Клякса.
right, we'll go with that.
На бумаге.
Ancient
Белой.
Roman with something on his head. Any other offers? It's abstract. It doesn't look like anything. A frog, okay.
Could be also some islands.
Some ants.
Islands.
Islands. Yep, okay. Look at this picture, and now,
Клякса.
how much
Лягушка.
easier is it to see a frog? Can you just put the other one back up, Rich? You see, if you've got the frog picture in your mind, then it's much easier to see that as a frog. There's a famous quote by a guy called Eric Berne, who said, he was an American psychiatrist, who said, "We're born princes, and the civilizing process turns us into frogs." One of the things he's talking about there is what we might call social conditioning. And the idea that actually some of the things you learn and that we're all conditioned to believe could actually be really unhelpful. And in many ways, this program is about changing and even unlearning some of the things that you may have believed were true. Because the media is constantly conditioning us to believe stuff. Films condition us to believe all sorts of things about how men and women are, and what women want and what men want. And it's all constructed. And the real question is, because you see, if you've got a belief about something, when you see it, you fit what you see into what you think it should be. So when you've got, oh, this is a frog, when you see it, it looks like a frog. So one of the things is what is the reality that you've got, and is it actually helping you when it comes to, for example, women and relationships? Because it's all made up anyway. It's all constructed inside you. None of it's really real. The question just becomes, what would be the most useful reality for you to have? What would be the most useful stuff for you to believe? That would actually help you be successful. That's what, and you see, when it comes to actually your own value and whatever you think about yourself, and I'm pretty sure that many of the guys who are right here, like, you really do know you're valuable and you really do realise this. And there might be other people watching this who maybe you're not totally sure about how valuable you are. Well, one of the things is whatever you think about that, it's just in here. It's just in your head. And one of the things we want to start to do now is for you to begin to realise your value and actually to feel it. So that when you're with a woman who you really like and who you're really attracted to, you know what? You really know that you're valuable. You really know that you've got value. And as a starting point, here's what I want you to do. I want you to do an exercise. And this says, Module 1, it says knowing your own value. And there's some questions here for you to actually consider and write down some answers for yourself. So, I hope you have started to think about some things there.
Так, он дал домашнее задание, надо его сделать. И это... После этого идет как обычное обсуждение. Упражнение. Так, значит, получается, мир такой, какой его конструирует твой мозг. То есть реальность делает реальным твой мозг. То есть то есть как ты его видишь, как мир себя, как ты себя, какой, ну, вот допустим, как Феликс. Вот это кот. Вот это кот. Он транслирует во внешний мир, что он кот. И поэтому он кот. Вот. У него есть хозяева добрые, которые его любят и кормят. ему преподают вкусняшечки. И, соответственно, он получает вкусняшки, когда просит. Вот. Так работает восприятие реальности. На примере кота.
which are useful for you. Anyone got any comments?
Правда, еще непонятно, как решить проблему кота с кошечкой. Он таки свою кошечку не нашел. Ну, мы, короче, узнаем. Короче, и мне поможем это сделать предложение Маше. И котику найдем кошечку.
Questions?
Yes, I got a question about value. I mean, can you separate the value?
Ну, это стандартная такая процедура. Сделали упражнение, обсуждать его с тренером. Ну, это классика, что я едва слышу тренера, а теперь я совсем не слышу, какие вопросы задают это какие ученики.
In the different aspects of your life.
Офигенно просто. 10 из 10
You can
качество.
feel very secure and valuable if you are used to skiing and going on the slopes and the glacier, but when you're in a room full of HB10, you might feel less valuable, but you're the same person anyway.
Got ya. Yeah. So, in other words, you feel value in certain areas of your life, and what would be an area that you feel valuable in? What would be an example?
Yeah. Some good examples would be sports, for some sports, or some fields that I know particularly about, for example, history.
So, this is a
Я не
great
успел
question.
прочитать.
I'm sure it's relevant for a lot of different people. What you've said there is that in your case, there are certain things that you do, and when you do them, you feel really good and you feel really valuable. What this program is about is beginning to actually be valuable. So that you're really, because basically that's like in that situation.
Так, он по-прежнему развивает идеи мистери. То есть это он подходит к девушке и демонстрирует свою ценность. Демонстрирует свою ценность. Ну, например, если вот так вот тачка крутая, это демонстрация твоей ценности. Вот, допустим, внешний вид. Ну, хотя бы такой прическа, барбершоп. Часов, правда, нету. Часов, у нас часы мода носить дорогущие. Вот это демонстрация своей ценности. Ты показываешь фокусы. Ты этот стиль этого активиста, ну, стиль тролля называю. Ты подходишь там к окружению девушки и начинаешь их развлекать разговорами. Либо там у нее там есть подружки, которые или девушки, которые рядом менее красивые, ты их очаровал, она видит, что очаровал девушек и, соответственно, уже по-другому с тобой разговаривает. Вот, все это тема реализации твоей ценности.
You feel valuable. But when you're not in that situation, so when you're in a club full of super hot 10 out of 10 girls, you don't feel it, right? So depending on the situation, you do feel it or you don't feel it. Which basically means that your value is, and I mean, you know, we're all human beings, but your value is connected very much to something outside you.
Пока что мы научились тому, что оказывается реальность именно такова, как видит твой мозг. Соответственно, можно влиять на реальность, управляя своим восприятием реальности. Прямо это какое-то учение о силе, я уже сказал бы. Это уже не трансфер, это какое-то учение о силе.
And it is dependent on something that's happening in the outside world. Which is really an example of, so I pointed to having, of doing something to feel valuable. Now, there's nothing wrong with it. I'm not saying that that's not a good thing to do, because that's, you know, doing things, feeling valuable is good. But we really want to move to a place where you're actually totally, you know you're valuable wherever you are. Because it's not about what you're doing. It's actually about, you know, you feel it in yourself. And that's really what this is about. So that, you know, regardless of whether you're doing it, you still feel like, yeah, you know, I'm valuable. And you know that you're valuable. And you experience it. So that's what this is about. So it's a great question. And I'm sure something other people can relate to. So here's what I want you to do, guys. I want you to have a look through those statements, and I want you to pick 2 statements that really resonate with you. That for you seem like they're meaningful, and for you have a bit of power in them. I'm not going to ask you what they are. I just want you to pick 2, maybe 3, but pick a couple which are relevant to you. Okay, who'd just share a couple of things that you've picked for yourself? I'm just going to ask a couple of people just to share them, just to hear a couple of things. I think I said I wasn't going to ask you, didn't I? But there we go. I changed my mind. So just give a couple that for you are most powerful, most relevant.
I think for me the most relevant was the first one. When interacting with my friends, I'm secure in myself because my friends.
Я слышу индийский акцент. Это еще индус, беша учиться.
I pick them so they are non-judgmental. So I don't have to worry what I talk with them. End of the day, they are comfortable with that. So I would say because they are non-judgmental, therefore I can be myself and I'm more confident and comfortable while I'm with them.
Awesome. What's your name? Sunil. Just give Sunil a round of applause for that. That was great, guys. Awesome. And I'm going to say a bit more about that just in a couple of minutes, Sunil, because what you've just said there is really relevant. Anyone else got something you can share? Don't all volunteer, because okay, so that's fine. Here's what we're going to do. I want to give you an exercise that you're going to do, and I want you to do this for the next 2 weeks. Once a day for the next 2 weeks. I just want you to identify what those 2 statements are. And then I just want you to put all your papers down, put your pens down. So I just put everything down. And just sit comfortably. Good. I want you actually just to find something that you can look at on the wall in front of you.
Это что, ты наводишь на меня экстранианский гипноз, что ли, уже?
A particular spot. And as you find something on the wall in front of you to look at, this particular...
Точно, это эриксианский гипноз, это уже меня гипнотизирует. Уже на первой ступени тренинга меня уже в гипноз вводит.
Spot. I want your eyes to remain looking at it as you begin to expand your awareness out towards the sides.
Серьезно, это он меня гипнотизирует.
So you start to notice how far round to the left you can see. And you start to notice how far round to the right you can see. And then
Лично мое мнение о таких тренерах, которые используют НЛП, которые используют это гипноз на своих семинарах, это тренера бездарности. Потому что у них нет никакого своего бэкграунда, никаких успехов нету, потому что вот этого мужика я в полях ни разу не видел. Вот ни разу не видел в полях. То есть как он знакомится с девушками, насколько он успешен, то есть с ним я не общался, в полях не видел. И, соответственно, вот то, что он меня сейчас гипнотизирует, меня как бы вызывает такую негативную реакцию, что чего это он решил, что мне надо какая-то помощь в виде гипноза, чтобы мое состояние изменить. Типа, раз меняется твое восприятие реальности, значит, ты будешь более успешный. И поэтому тебе нужно гипнотизировать. Ладно, что там дальше?
I'd just like you to take a deep breath in through your nose. And out through your mouth. And as you do this,
Лайк поставь, если ты это послушал задание тренера на таком подобном тренинге и потом его не выполнил.
you breathe in through your nose. And as you breathe out, I want you to say one of the statements that's true for you. So for Sunil, it would be breathe in. And then in your own mind, say, when I'm with my friends, I feel secure because they're non-judgmental. And I feel comfort.
Реально, как славянский гипноз. А ты гипноз у кого учился? У Пьюселика или у Гиллигана? Потому что это что-то напоминает стиль работы тренерский, как у Гиллигана. Ты путь героя Стивена Гиллигана проходил, а? Путь героя у Стивена Гиллигана. А то один в один, как это Стивен Гиллиган работает. Какие-то байки рассказывает, какие-то там что-то какой-то бред, какой-то рефрейминг, а потом гипнотизирует. Ты должен подписаться на канал. Ты должен смотреть все видео. Именно это позволит тебе найти девушку и лучше воспринимать мир. То, как ты воспринимаешь реальность, это твой выбор. И именно от этого зависит успех с женщинами. И еще от просмотра данных серий стримов от редпил 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 и дальше. Ну что-то он уже в трансе. Мы наблюдаем эриксонский гипноз. Он сидит абсолютно неподвижно, как статуя. И, соответственно, если мы смотрели на его учеников, часть учеников бы тоже были такие неподвижные. То есть он тренер в трансе. И через личное состояние транса наводит на транс на нас. Подпишись на канал. Подписка удваивает твои шансы найти девушку. Смотри стримы полностью. Просмотр стрима полностью утраивает твои шансы найти девушку. Звони в колокольчик. Колокольчик в 4 раза увеличивает шансы познакомиться с девушкой. Дыши. Как говорил Пьюселик, observe, наблюдай.
You guys doing good. Okay. What I want you to do.
Это, по-моему, называется маркинг, маркировка.
For the next 2 weeks is to do that exercise for 10 minutes.
Вот, короче говоря, эту практику гимнастическую надо делать 2 недели. Тогда ты будешь по-другому воспринимать мир. Либо твои психологические проблемы обострятся еще сильнее. Если они есть.
All I want you to do is just set a timer, use your phone, whatever, set 10 minutes, and then just sit down. First thing is expand your awareness. Then breathe in through your nose, and as you breathe out through your mouth, you're going to say whatever of those statements seem like they're most relevant to you. These are affirmations.
Ну что, очень хорошее такое наведение транса. Мой котик выспался.
And one of the things that makes affirmations work better is the state that you're in when you say them to yourself. Which is why, I mean, for example, how many of you actually began to feel more relaxed as you went through that experience? Yeah, okay. I mean, I can see. So, yeah. So one of the reasons for doing that is so that you actually feel more relaxed as you begin to believe this stuff for yourself. Remember, this is about building new neural pathways, new connections. You are not your conditioning. You are not your thoughts. We want your nervous system to think new things. And this is about changing that.
Кот, интересно, так развлекся. Я его сфотографировал.
So, one of the questions from Sunil was about what other people, sort of about when you're with your friends, then they're non-judgmental and you feel confident. And I wonder for how many people is feeling judged by other people an issue for you? Like how many times do you actually worry about what other people think? You know, or you wonder what's she thinking about me right now? Does she like me? Does she think I'm funny? Is she attracted to me? Am I, yeah, you know, am I coming across as cool? Or what do those people over there think about me going to go and talk to her? You know, are they judging me for even going to approach her? Or like, what do your friends think about you for even developing yourself and watching this? Or what would, you know, do you care what other people think about you for even learning to be better with women? And if you have those experiences of feeling like you're being judged, that's a pretty unuseful experience to have. And there's two things that can be going on. You know what? It could just be in your head. It could just be, you know what? That's the reality that you're constructing, and it's just going on in here. And they're not even thinking that. You know, maybe they're thinking something else totally different, but it's just going on in your head. Or you know what? Maybe they are thinking some of that. And that's really what they're thinking. The point is becoming more secure in yourself is about...
Уже чуть после наведения транса я уже не хочу этого зануду слушать. Но я буду терпеть. Все-таки благодаря этой игре Super Seducer и Super 2 я познакомился с Машей. И она пришла на два свидания. То есть по-моему, 2 раза я ее покормил пиццей. Или 3. Она еще ко мне домой приходила 1 раз. Я ее покормил еще чем-то. Тоже чем-то угостил. Она 1 раз ко мне приходила домой. И чем-то ее покормил. И 2 раза еще пиццей их кормил.
Letting go of that and not caring what they think. A story that I love is it's a Taoist story, and it's about a guy goes to see the sage, and he says to the sage, you know, he says, how do I deal with what other people think about me? He says, because people have wronged me, they've judged me. He said, you know, how do I deal with that? The sage says to him, he says, here's a sack. He says, I want you to put a potato in the sack.
Он что, сделал лазерную эпиляцию с горла, что ли? У него на горле вообще волос нету. На кадыке вообще никаких волос нету. Лазерная эпиляция, что ли, это?
And write the name of the person who judged you on that potato. And for everyone in the last week who's judged you, I want you to write their name on a potato and put it in the sack. He said, and then for the next week, I want you to carry...
Ну, по-моему, это есть это похожая тема у Филиппа Богачева в лингвистике, что не надо никаких людей оценивать. Он тут говорит, не осуждай.
Carry the sack with you. So the guy says, okay. And he goes off, and he carries the sack round with him. Well, you know, initially, it's like it's not that big a deal. After a couple of days, the sack's getting kind of heavy. And he's got this big sack of potatoes. And after a few more days, it starts to smell. And the potatoes are going mouldy. And he's got this big mouldy sack of potatoes that's weighing him down, and it stinks, that he's got to carry with him. So a week later, he gets back to the sage, and the sage says, okay, so, well, what have you learned? And the guy says, well, carrying around all these judgments with me from other people, it's a pretty heavy burden. And frankly, it stinks. And the sage says, yeah. He says, well, do you know how to get rid of the potatoes? And he says, do you want to get rid of the guy's like, yeah, I want to get rid of the potatoes. So he's like, well, you've just got to let it go. And he said, and if you're willing to let go of what all that stuff is, for each person that you're willing to let go, you can take a potato out. So the guy opens up his bag and takes out a potato, looks at the name, and says, you know, am I willing to let that go? And then drops a potato. And all of a sudden he's feeling better because he's like, oh man, you know what? My sack's got no potatoes in. This is good, it's light again. And then the sage says to him, right. He says, now in the last week while you've been carrying that sack around, are there any people who've judged you? Guy says, yeah. He says, right, well, get a new potato, write their name on it, and put it in the sack. And all of a sudden he's like, oh. So each week I'm just going to fill my sack up with more potatoes until I can let it go. He says, well, what do we do here? How, like, if I just let go of this stuff, how do I stop it being filled up again with more potatoes? And the sage said, well, what is it that's allowing you to carry the potatoes round? The guy says, well, the sack. He said, and what does the sack represent? The sack's your ego. The sack is your sense of self-importance. Your sack is like the image you've got of yourself as being, you know, the daddy, you know, I'm it, whatever it is. And one of the things that you have to do is be willing to let go of that. And let go of what other people think about you. And once you drop the sack, there's nowhere for the potatoes to go. And it's really about caring what you think. By the way, there's a flip to this, which is, you know, one of the things we could say is that women are probably attracted to guys who don't care what they think. You know, that have a strong sense of being secure. Yeah? You agree with this? So, if you really care, like if you really want a woman to be attracted to you and you really care what she thinks about you, then you really ought to make sure that you care enough about that so that you don't care what she thinks. Like you really have to care that you don't care what she thinks. So, one of the things I want you to think about is this question. How many times in your life has someone asked you to do something that you weren't motivated to do?
Я своего котика сфотографировал, он прикольно лежит, когда ему жарко.
Could be at work. Could be, you know, in your own life, whatever it is. What does it feel like when...
У меня вопрос. Как восприятие мира может поменять тот факт, что, допустим, чтобы с одной девушкой познакомиться, нужно 50 тысяч рублей, я посчитал. То есть я недавно прокликнул там, допустим, есть тир Это 1 час от тира стоит 6000 рублей. Ну, это типа одно свидание. А их нужно где-то, примерно 8-9. Ну, больше смысла нету. Но почему не 3 свидания? Если ты ограничиваешь себя в 2-3 свидания, то ты делаешь негативный отбор. То есть ты отсеиваешь девочек тяжелого поведения, и твоя девушка будет девушка легкого поведения, которая тебе потом будет изменять и, скорее всего, уйдет. Так что есть смысл делать 8-9. Ну, то есть надо ограничиваться не в число встреч, а в бюджет. Вот я посчитал, вот оказалось, что, ну, допустим, первое свидание, допустим, в парке погулять, второе, допустим, за 6000 рублей в тир. А начиная уже с третьего, четвертого ты приглашаешь куда-то интересное место, а потом уже на такси предлагаешь ехать к тебе домой. И так все свидания, начиная с 3 по 9.
You're doing something that you're not really motivated to do.
Вот как изменить восприятие реальности, чтобы у меня появились деньги.
Or you don't, it's not really what you want to be doing. Feels pretty crappy?
Потому что 50 тысяч это один трай. Одна попытка, одна девушка.
Yeah? Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyone, what word would someone give that, or what words might somebody give that? Just shout something out. What's it like when you're doing something really for somebody else that you don't want to do? Mundane? A chore? Boredom? So, if it feels like that, why on earth would you live your life like that? Because that's what caring about what other people think is. Caring about what other people think is doing things potentially that you don't even want to be doing. You know, why would you want to do something just because why would you want to do something that you actually don't want to do just because a woman wants you to do it? Obviously, you know, we're making a distinction here between if you're in a relationship with someone, you know, there would be a difference between doing things for each other and maybe that kind of being together sort of stuff. What I'm talking about here is like doing something to please somebody else because you want to feel a certain way.
Is it like not approaching a girl because you don't want like somebody else to judge or think?
Шикарно. Я вообще тренера не
Yeah.
слушаю. А он вообще там...
You're doing something for that person. What you're doing is in your head to keep the other person happy. You're not approaching the girl. Why would you want to live your life like that? If what you actually want to be doing is approaching the girl. You know, if that's something you actually want to be doing for yourself, then why would you choose not to just to keep someone else happy? They probably don't give a shit either way, you know. But what's going on in your head is that. Yeah. So now let me ask you this. Did you ever do something that you actually felt good about and no one else even recognized it? Or no one else realized that you'd done it, but you felt good anyway? Like you actually felt good in yourself because you did that. It could be something really small, it could be something big. Yesterday I went for a bike ride, and I did my training ride. I did it in my fastest time ever. And
Реально нервирует это уже, это занудство.
now the only person that knew about that was me. Obviously I've just told all you, hey, validation for me, yeah. But the point being, you know, I just feel good about that. Like, for example, what if, see, you could even just start to feel good approaching women
Но я отдал за это деньги, я должен это все схавать.
just because you're doing it for you. Like, and you know that you're making progress. And it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks because you know that you're getting better. You know that you're actually improving.
Вот сейчас это что-то похоже на это, на одного тренера по танцам из моего города. Очень похож в таком состоянии.
So we're going to do a bit of an exercise now, and I'm going to actually ask for a volunteer. What I'm going to ask you to do is to come up, and I'm going to demonstrate a technique here, which is helpful. And then, so one of the things with these exercises is for people watching this, I'm actually going to demonstrate this, and as I'm demonstrating, you might even do the exercise yourself.
Неужели будет демонстрация?
In your mind. There's also going to be something else for you to do afterwards where you do the exercise yourself. So who would actually like to come up? So let me ask, is there someone here who does experience from time to time, you know, you feel like you're being judged, you feel like you're in a situation.
Я подозреваю, сейчас какого-то желающего из зала возьмет и будет индивидуальный гипноз. Все в стиле Стивена Гиллигана.
Where, okay, Brendan, you put your hand up to start with. Yep. When do you feel like you're being judged?
Вот смотрите, это все инициалы, им, короче, не дают, поэтому они ходят на такие вот дорогие курсы. Все-таки он научился у писалика. Это то, что он делает, это называется маркировка. Это учит писалик.
Okay. Do you want to come up?
Это так смешно смотреть, когда он ну, делает, конечно, не так, как это надо делать, не так вот, как это, как показывает писалик, то там мастерство намного выше, вот так вот, но он в теме, он знает.
Yeah? Yeah? Yeah, okay, give Brendan a hand.
Маркировка. Ну, я не удивлен. Сейчас он этого парня будет в гипноз вводить и задавать какие-то вопросы. Ну, короче, демонстрация. Чувак прошел у Стивена Гиллигана путь героя и теперь по той же схеме учит пикапу. То есть он типичный сапожник без сапог, похоже, и который ничего не умеет. Потому что раз ты NLP используешь и гипноз, то явно у тебя нет никакого опыта. Ты просто компенсируешь отсутствие своего опыта тем, что ты просто гипнотизируешь желающих. Теперь будет гипноз 1 на 1.
Okay, so we're going to do an exercise here, which is all about...
Это типично для тренингов Фрэнка Форелли, Пьюслика, Гиллигана.
Really being secure in yourself. This exercise might look kind of crazy. It's definitely, I think, probably some people are going to go, what is that about? You know what? I don't mind. You can think what you want to think, but I'm doing this because I really genuinely believe you will get value from it. So my invitation is, you know what? Do the exercise and then find out if it works for you. So, Brendan, just to start with, you said that there are times when you feel judged.
Так, мы видим у Инцела нашего лишний вес. В отличие от тренера, у него просто джинсы и футболка. И, прическа у него нормальная. Он бреется наглухо. Руки волосатые. А у этого что, нет волос, что ли, на руках?
Yeah. Do you feel judged by women?
Так где его волосы на руках?
Mainly friends.
Yeah.
And
Он что, сделал эпиляцию рук?
family, maybe.
Лазерную.
So what I want you to do is just think about two people that you know, one person that you like,
Yep.
and one person that actually you
Да ладно, это же DST. Dissociative State терапия. Диссоциативная терапия частей. То есть там есть какая-то личность такая одна, другая. Он сейчас будет делать пространственное якорение и с этими частями личности общаться. То есть это чисто пьюселик. DST.
don't particularly like.
Right.
Yeah. I'm not going to ask you who they are either, so it's fine. Yeah, is that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. How are you feeling right now, by the way, Brennan?
Cracking it.
Yeah.
Так что посещение таких тренингов еще опасно для психического здоровья. Потом так можно и в психушку попасть после таких тренингов.
I thought so. And that's
Да ладно, ты делал... То, что он все эти движения такие делает, это маркировка.
totally fine to be cacking it. All right, okay. You are sat at the front.
Это более продвинутый уровень NLP, чем ставить там якорь. Причем это над этими якорями сам Пюслик смеется над тем уровнем исполнения, который обычно на практике люди делают. То есть все ваше NLP, которое вы знаете, это полная ерунда. Вот это уже более высокий уровень.
There's other people here, you know.
No, it's when I was at school.
Ну, правда, он не мастерски выполняет, но умеет, может.
Did dance and drama.
Yeah.
And all my friends swapped it round because I was at the back, which I was kind of comfortable with. And they made me go at the front, and I got complete stage fright and just didn't do nothing. So I figured if I was going to volunteer, I should do it now.
Okay, give him a hand.
Нужно еще 4 стула для действия. Сейчас как он будет действие проводить без стульев?
I can see. Okay, so we've got something else going on here as well, and that's totally cool. Let me ask you this, just before we even start the exercise here. So you're sat at the front right now, yeah? Give it a free choice. How would you actually like to be feeling?
Completely relaxed and just speak my mind and say what I want to say.
Okay, so completely relaxed, speak your mind and say what you want to say. Yeah?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. And you know what it's like when you feel relaxed?
Yeah.
You do? What does it feel like when you feel relaxed?
You just
Тренер подстроился под дыхание, тренер подстроился под позу, то есть входит в рапорт. Это на таком примитивном уровне NLP. Но при этом он делает еще маркировки.
relaxed.
How do you know?
Ну, маркировки — это такая жестикуляция с помощью рук и мимики.
Like what's actually happening inside you that lets you know you feel relaxed? That's what I mean.
You just feel more comfortable and you're not. I don't know. Your mind's not racing.
Okay, I feel more comfortable?
I do.
Oh, you do? Okay, so you feel more comfortable? Yeah, okay. That's good. And when your mind's not racing,
Вот видите, он сначала показал на себя, потом на него, и еще улыбается, эмоции показывает. Это как раз маркировка, чему учит Пюселик.
actually happening?
You can just listen to what people are saying, and
Okay,
I can.
you can. Okay.
Yep, I can listen to what people are saying and then just give them answers back and
Okay.
interact
And interact. So you,
without thinking other stuff in my head.
got you. So you can just listen to what people are saying and you can answer back?
Yeah.
You listen to what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you're answering back, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Making progress then. Good. Okay. Now, when you are feeling relaxed, what's your breathing like?
Shallow. Kind of like not. I don't need to do it. But you need.
Wow! Man, there's some competitions you could enter, you know, and you do.
Это уже, он, по-моему, с помощью NLP наводит состояние, которое раньше в прошлом было, он это состояние позитивное вызывает. Это что-то вроде, там есть такое с помощью NLP, типа можно в мельчайших деталях представить, как ты пьешь этот алкоголь, и состояние воспроизведется, если ты в мельчайших подробностях вспомнишь, как ты это делал. Вот сейчас он что-то похожее делает, какое-то состояние хочет вызвать. То есть он вызовет состояние, которое и потом, скорее всего, его заикарит. И отправится в этом состоянии знакомиться с девочками.
Real well.
Like you're not conscious of it.
То есть
Exactly.
работает с помощью NLP.
It really is about you actually not being conscious of it, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah. And I'm guessing that maybe you even breathe more deeply, maybe even more slowly. I don't know when you're feeling relaxed. Yeah. So just
Опять делает, что все его движения руками, мимика — это маркировка.
I know, just for the fun of it. Just note. How are you feeling right now, by the way?
Better.
You are feeling better, aren't you? Yeah. So just even take a deeper breath.
Так, он, значит, предлагает ему сменить дыхание, чтобы погрузить его в транс. Сейчас будет вызывать это состояние.
Yeah. Just notice you sat on the chair.
Yeah.
Ну, далее, как говорит эта писулька, observe, наблюдайте за ним и за ним. То есть, если вам программа минимум это смотреть за ним, программа мастерская смотреть за ним, а программа джедайская смотреть за ними обоими и вот за вот этой головой, которая попала в кадр. Две головы. Маркировка.
Okay. How you feeling?
Okay.
Okay. Now, let me ask you this. Can you think about times right now when you've done something and you did it for you and you felt really good about it?
Yeah.
Yeah? What would be an example?
I did a gym instructor course.
Okay, a gym instructor course. Yeah.
That was like when I was really shy.
Okay.
So it was kind of like coming out of my comfort zone.
Yeah. And so when you did this, and you did this for you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. How you know? So when is this, by the way, that you were doing this?
Я извиняюсь, мне просто так скучно смотреть, что мне все свербит уже.
About
Просто себя заставляю это смотреть.
7 years ago.
Okay. So how do you feel in yourself when you're doing this gym instructor course and like you're doing it for you? How do you actually feel in yourself?
Like I'm doing something for myself. I'm actually following my own path.
Yeah. So you're doing something for yourself and you're following your own path. Yeah?
Yeah.
And what are you saying to yourself when it's like, you know, you're doing something for yourself and you're following your path?
I can do this.
Yeah? Is that like, I can do this?
Yeah.
And how would you really be saying it to yourself? You know, like, you know, you're doing something for you, you're following your own path.
I don't know. I probably wouldn't think about it.
Okay.
But if I did,
Yeah.
if like negative thoughts crept in, I would like say, like, you can do it.
You can do it, right? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And how would you be feeling in your body when, like, you know, you can do it?
Like powered.
Powered. Yeah?
Yeah.
What does that feel like when you're powered?
Good.
Good. How so?
You just, I don't know. You just seem to stand taller, feel better.
You stand taller and you feel better, right? Yeah, and you're powered.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. How are you feeling right now?
Better.
You are, aren't you? Yeah. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to see those two people there. The person that you like on these empty chairs
right.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a person that you like and a person that you don't like.
Yep.
Got them?
Yeah.
Yep.
Is it okay if they're the other way around?
Oh yeah. Is that don't like?
Yeah.
That's don't like and that's like, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. We can do it either. Yeah. So here's what I want you to do. Okay. So I want you to step off this chair for a minute. Okay. And I sort of want you to imagine, I know this is a wacky thing to suggest, that you're going to leave Brendan on that chair. Okay?
Yep.
And he's powered.
Right.
Okay? And I want you to go and sit on the chair of the person that you like. And when you do that, to imagine that you are actually that person.
Yep.
What's this person's name? Just first name?
Aaron.
Aaron. So go and sit down and be Aaron. I know. What?
Все-таки другое кресло... нет, он попросил поставить, наверное, только что. Вот, все. Это, короче, чисто до 10 проводит он.
Okay, and just take a moment to feel what it feels like to be Aaron.
Как бы это одна часть личности, это другая часть личности. И сейчас эти части личности общаются между собой.
And like as if you're actually Aaron and like you're experiencing the world as Aaron.
Ну, как бы, вот, допустим, здесь есть инцел, а здесь альфач. Вот в каждом парне есть зашита программа альфа-самца. То есть, если наступит конец света, все альфа-самцы погибнут, то у мужчин, который выжил, альфа-программа активируется. И вот, соответственно, он с этим альфачом, который в тебе спит, он это с помощью DST начинает взаимодействовать. И таким образом он сейчас его работает состояние уверенности у него с помощью метода DST.
I want you to look across at Brendan. He's following his own path.
Чувак сходил на дорогой тренинг, учился у Пьюселика, понятно.
He's powered. What are you thinking about him?
I'm thinking good on him.
Good on him. Yeah.
Пьюселик, он интересный такой мужик.
And what kind of guy is he?
He's a cool guy.
He is a cool guy, isn't he? Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Okay, just stand up. Just come back and sit over here.
Как бы с помощью этой техники диссоциативной DST разные части личности якорятся на это пространство. И, соответственно, он меняет части личности путем перемещения в пространстве. То есть на разных стульях это разные части личности разговаривают друг с другом и с тренером.
I just want you to feel what it feels like to be you, knowing that you're a cool guy.
Yeah, it feels good.
Someone's thinking like, good on you. Yeah?
Yeah.
How are you feeling right now?
Great.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And frankly, you know what? As you look out there are some other people out there that think you're a cool guy too. And you know what? They're probably thinking good on you for coming up. Yeah, and from the nods, that would seem to be true. Okay? So, here's what I want you to do. I want you to go and sit over there now. Okay, and what's the name of that person?
Richard.
Richard. Right.
Ричард. Вот эти две части личности теперь у него между собой общаются.
So just go and sit down.
Диссоциативная терапия частей. Все по методике Пьюселика. Ну что, мы узнали теперь, что оказывается неуверенность в себе, когда ты с девушками боишься знакомиться, и у тебя что-то не получается, можно лечить с помощью ДСТ.
It's not our Richard.
DST. Distributed State Therapy. Не знаю, как терапия читается по-английски.
Okay, just sit down and just check out, as if you're actually Richard now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Так что это прям какая-то золотая ниша. Можно удаленно через Skype помогать и девочкам, и мальчикам. То есть это универсальная техника, с помощью которой можно это лечить и мальчиков, и девочек. Просто золотая ниша для заработка на YouTube.
And you're looking at a guy called Brendan, who's following his own path. Yeah, and he's powered. He's powered, he's following his own path. What are you thinking about him?
As Richard.
Yeah.
Это, конечно, так странно смотрится. Вот что это? Часть личности думает об этом, а этот что думает об этом, еще думает об этом, еще думает об этом. И это все весь пикап-тренинг. То есть сначала он погрузил всех в гипноз, как это был Геллиган. Теперь он по методу Пьюселика с помощью DST лечит неуверенность в себе у этого пациента. Ладно, не пациента, нашего инцела.
Probably thinking he's a twat.
You're thinking he's a twat. Yeah.
Только как я должен теперь этой информацией воспользоваться? Потому что, мне, получается, нужен такой тренер, который проходил обучение у Пьюселика, которому я доверяю. И, соответственно, вот я теперь после этого обучения могу помогать людям с помощью метода DST решать какие-то свои вопросы. Но как мне самому эту проблему решить? То есть мне нужен вот этот мужик, который учился у Пьюселика.
Maybe. Well, okay, so just hang on. You're not really being Richard yet, are you? So here's what I want you to do. I want you just to sit back and be Richard. Like, you believe what Richard believes. The world looks like it looks to you.
Yep.
Yeah? You feel what you feel as Richard. Now look at him. He's following his path. Okay. What are you thinking now?
I'm getting two feelings.
You are, aren't you? What are they?
One, I feel threatened. The other one, I feel...
Ничего себе, тут есть еще третья личность. То есть, получается, сейчас он его дистиллировал на три части. Тут есть это личность А, личность Б, личность С. Сейчас он из личности С, это, наверное, та, которая неуверенная, разговаривает с этими двумя.
Like I should call him a twat.
Yeah. Well, probably if you felt threatened, you would call him a twat.
Yeah, I suppose.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. And what is it you're threatened about?
Because he's raising his level.
He is, isn't he? Yeah. He's raising his level. And, you know, while you might feel threatened, you might also realise there's a guy there who's raising his level.
Yeah.
Yeah. And as you look up to him raising his level, that's probably something that you even aspire to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just come back and sit over there.
Ну, маркировка у него нормальная, пойдет. Ну, не сам...
Yeah.
Конечно, до уровня Пьюслика далеко, но ну, Пьюслик реально с этой маркировкой жжет. А вот он ну, делает, просто мужик делает свою работу. Вот такой уровень маркировки.
How you feeling right now?
Better.
You are, aren't you? Yeah. So just have a look at Richard there.
Я понял. Это личность А, это он. Тут он уверен, а тут не уверен.
And, you know,
А это он.
You see, because when you're actually changing and learning more, people might even feel threatened by that.
Yeah.
And some of them aren't going to respond positively.
Ну да, и калибрует то, что что-то состояние у него поменялось после действия.
Because they may even aspire to be like you. And they may even say things because they feel that way. But you're following your own path, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think about that now?
About Richard?
Yeah.
I'm actually thinking he's not that bad.
He's not, is he? But how do you feel about you now?
Good.
Yeah.
And I'm not worried about what Richard thinks.
You are not, are you?
Ну
Exactly.
что, мое мнение, какая-то ерунда. Очередной сапожник без сапог, который никогда не был в полях. Ну, в полях я его никогда не видел. Он прошел НЛП практик, НЛП мастер, НЛП тренер, пошел к Пьюселику, пошел к Гиллигану, и теперь по этим методикам учит людей пикапам.
Because it's really important what you think, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And even what about what they think.
Yep.
Like, I'm pretty sure that most of the guys watching this would actually respect you and admire you for what you're doing. So you can be pretty sure that they're thinking pretty good things as well. But who cares anyway, right? Yeah, exactly. Great job. Great job, Brandon. Well done. Awesome. Okay, so that's going to be the exercise, guys. And you're going to do that for yourself now.
Ну что ж, я осилил первое DLC. Пошли дальше. Нажимаем играть. Так. DLC второе. Не понял, почему DLC второе не открывается. Что, у меня DLC второе уже открыто? Бонус видео 5, 4, 3. Короче, вторая часть почему-то не открывается у меня. Почему-то не открывается. Ладно. Третья часть. Третья часть. Получение поцелуя. Так. Как, короче, получить поцелуй от женщины?
Okay, so we've got another clip here, and this one has a bit of an interesting story because we actually put
Так,
it.
что мы видим? Ковер, какие-то занавески, прям какая-то советская квартира, какие-то картинки, диванчики, светильник. По времени сколько там? Час. То есть мы сегодня целый час будем учиться, как получать поцелуй.
Online
Yeah.
right after it was done, but the version we've got here is never before seen.
It's twice as long.
Is it that long? How
pretty
long
much.
is it?
It's about 18 minutes. So, and the one we put out was about 8-something minutes.
We had to get it under the YouTube limit of 10 minutes,
Yeah,
so it was
Ну, в
really, really
принципе, вот у него внешность такая нормальная. Можно поверить, что ему дают. Так, тут часы, рубашка, брюки. Стандартная форма, расстегнутая рубашка, стандартная форма пикап-мастера.
cut down.
Yeah. And there were some crucial bits missing from that. And there's a lot of comments online if you check it out. People going, oh, you know, how come she said this? How come you said that all of a sudden? So this really puts the piece.
Так, ну, короче, допустим. Значит, мы были все не уверены, прошли этот тренинг, теперь с помощью метода DST и гипноза, теперь мы, короче, девушкам подходим, к ним знакомимся. А теперь надо получить от нее поцелуй. Как это сделать?
But it all makes sense if you watch it like this. So
Кстати, я Машу целовал максимум только в щечку. Хотя там на первом-втором свидании она по моим колерировкам была готова к поцелую в губы. Вот так вот. Главный инцел пришел. Ну, ему кошки не целуются, ему это видео ни к чему, наверное.
the other thing is it was one of the first ones you ever filmed as well, right? So you look a bit different as well.
Yeah, this is like my geekiest sort of look I'm sporting, and that shirt is way too dodgy by any standards.
Is there anything to say about?
Как я понял, это второй ученик у нашего пикап-мастера.
Yeah, I think just she's a dainty girl. She's very svelte, just ambling around in a nice, easy manner. And this is like the Strand. It's not as busy as Oxford Street. It's not as intense as Oxford Street. So it's a little bit, you know, nicer and more pedestrian. And yeah, I just literally go up to her and put all my body in front of her, all my physical presence right in front of her, and it's very easy to stop women that way. Cause
вторая часть урока не открывается почему-то, поэтому сразу перешли к третьему уроку.
You know, that first 30 seconds, it's just so crucial. When I'm getting eye contact straight away and I'm looking down at her. And that establishes a lot of power. So you don't need to necessarily do that through verbals. That's why I'm so easygoing with them.
Так, тут он учит контакту глаз. Так что учим смотреть девушке в глаза и какие-то... смотри, какая волосатая грудь. И, соответственно, какие-то... через контакт глаз какие-то эмоции передаем. Ну, типа там любовь, желание... не знаю, восхищение, радость. Ну, в общем, какие-то эмоции нужно, какие-то позитивные. То есть смотрим в глаза, и какие-то позитивные эмоции надо крутить. Ну, это так, уже развитие этой техники. Нужно. Об этом писал Алекс Уэсли о контакте глаз.
Verbals here. Because I've established so much just through presence and through my body language, which is what most communication is based on anyway. And then on top of that, I'm with my...
Так, чувак, походу, тоже проходил NLP практик. Он говорит, что большая часть информации идет языком тела.
Tonality, I'm very sort of calm, I'm very easygoing, I'm relaxing her into the situation straight away, and then I'm saying something very simple which she can understand. I love your style. And a lot of girls, especially, she's dressed slightly outlandishly, she's going to respond to that because she knows that that's something she's put effort in, and
her style does mean something.
Exactly.
She's thought about it or whatever.
Yeah, if I go up to a girl who's just like dressed in a tardy way and I say the same thing, it's not going to come across as good because it's going to seem like a line.
Yeah.
But here, it was genuinely, I did love her style. She's a bit out there with it.
Cool.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Can I tell you something really quickly?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I just saw you and I love...
Ладно, парень хотя бы заснял свой подход в полях.
What is your style?
Так, он что-то как-то близко встал к девушке. Я думаю, она ему не даст телефон.
Okay, thanks.
That's so cool. You don't often see
Но девушка почему-то на него реагирует позитивно.
people rocking so many colours.
You know, because I'm not from England, I'm from Russia, and in Russia
О, девушка из... Он нашел русскую девушку. Поэтому, наверное, и знакомство состоялось.
people dress like that. They
Do
just,
they?
yeah. Do you know this?
Да, у них какой-то акцент какой-то русский. То есть, получается, нашел русскую девушку, для которой нормально знакомиться на улице. А тут подходит такой, прическа хорошая, очки нормальные такие, рубашечка. Правда, лишний вес у него есть какой-то пленный, но явно какой-то русский акцент у девочки.
See these things, these dolls?
I see, yeah, they're Russian dolls.
Yeah.
They all fit inside each other.
Yeah.
So this is the biggest one, and
I
that's
don't
the
know.
smallest one, and everything in between
Yeah.
fits in. That's pretty hard. I've never got the idea.
Ну, она, скорее всего, выросла в стиле, что все, наша страна кошмарная, там Путин диктатор, и надо валить. Для нее все эти теперь белые, они все умнее, богаче, красивее. То есть вот она думает, что это настоящий мужчина. Вот чисто такой вот за счет промывки мозгов подход получился. То, что девушка свалила из стороны и думает, что это принц к ней подошел.
You know why they do that? Because when you're a kid and they do that, you buy the smallest doll, and then when you grow up, you get a bigger doll, and then when you grow up, bigger doll.
No, it's not like that. It used to be like that, you know, maybe 2 centuries ago, you know, in the country children played with all these things, but now it's just a Russian souvenir. So we don't have it at home, just people, foreigners come to Moscow, and they say, okay, I know this is pretty Russian souvenir, I'll take it.
Okay.
So this is nice. She's from Russia, and we've had a recent experience in Moscow together, which you know, we probably shouldn't go on about, but we could probably do something nice for the Moscow Tourist Board if we could talk for hours about it. But she's a Russian girl, and you're talking about the Russian dolls and stuff, and you touched her a little bit, right, to draw attention to it.
Well, yeah, and it was like she's going on about her style, and if I just go, what I'm doing is I'm complementing her energy a little bit. I think in the beginning it's very important to have this spark, you know, this attraction building sort of thing. So she's going, Russian people dress like this, and I'm like, I love the fact that you've got like, okay, so it's like small dolls and big dolls, and they all fit into each other, and it's like that's a very Russian thing. And so I'm like, why do they do that? And I'm genuinely curious. And you can see my tonality is very playful. It's very like, oh, so why did they do that? And then she's investing straight away. She's telling me what's happening. So it's a really cool way to start off a conversation with a girl. You know, this energetic way of speaking, and also like calling her on the things she's telling you, which you'll find out in a bit that I do.
And something that we got from my experience in Moscow was that the Russian girls are comfortable giving strong eye contact, they're comfortable having a conversation with a stranger, they're not going to, you know, think it's too weird and all of that stuff. And the only thing that they do is kind of test. You know, they want you to be a cool dude. So if you show that in some way, you know, they're fine talking to you. So it seems like you've already got a level of comfort, and she's just relaxed and talking naturally very quickly, which is something you wouldn't see happen so quickly with English and American girls.
No, not at all, because I think it is a very Russian trait where, especially the ones who come over to London, they've led a really nice life. They can afford to. I think we found out in Russia, some of our friends that we made there wanted to visit us in London, and it's very difficult to get a visa. You've got to be a certain income bracket to sort of achieve that. And so the girls who come over to London, there's a reason why they're so friendly. They've led a really nice life.
Rich parents.
Yeah. Now, to have rich parents in Moscow is no joke, is it? It's not just like rich, well-to-do parents. It's literally the high life, isn't it?
Yes.
So she's probably a rich daddy's girl who thinks everything in life is an opportunity, whereas I think if you go to a, working class area in Britain and you start talking to girls, they'll look at you with suspicion. They won't see the opportunity in you, they'll see the danger in you. And it's, I think, true for most lower class people everywhere in the world, whereas like the people who've grown up with privilege and with a wider vision of life, they often see the opportunities rather than the, what might be bad about a situation.
Yes.
So it's a really different attitude, and I've recognised that. And what's cool about it, again, if we go back to the song thing, I'm singing her song. She's being very enthusiastic, and I'm giving it back to her.
It's very expressive with her body and voice.
Exactly. But if I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool, then I'll sort of kill that. And I don't want to do that. So I want to goad her to keep investing in the same way. So by sort of giving it back to her a little bit in the same way she's giving it back to me, especially in this beginning part. It would make no sense for me 10 minutes later to keep doing that, because that would kill the interaction because it's just too much.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, so you've got to go in there with all this gusto and energy and be like creating this attractive atmosphere between you,
Great.
So it's like, it's not to do with like it just came out of like normal family life. It wasn't like an event.
Ну это же не Москва.
A dramatic event like Anastasia.
Вывески на иностранном языке.
You know the fable of Anastasia.
Yeah, I know that there is
Ну, девочка красивая, да. 8.
a costume, Anastasia.
It's a famous Russian story, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not that famous, but it's Russian.
Where else do you get the name Anastasia apart from Russian?
Anastasia.
Это же не Москва, тут вывески на иностранном языке.
I know the singer, Anastasia.
Oh, you know properly Russia. Where are you from?
From Moscow.
Actually from Moscow. You should know all about that.
Москвичка, ну, говорит, where from, значит, она из... Все-таки я прав, она не, это не Москва, она из Москвы.
Anastasia story,
No, I don't like it, really. I saw it when I was
Да и вокруг люди какие-то не русские.
a small girl. I didn't like it at all.
You want to pretend it's not
Хотя последняя пара была похожа на русскую пару.
to do with Russian. You just want to forget about it.
Alright, so she's from Moscow, and we've got a lot of friends now from Moscow, but back then it was like, oh, a pretty Russian girl. Bit of a novelty.
Yeah. Got a different perspective now, definitely. But yeah, like, I think a few things are happening there.
Ну, это, короче, это тут такой кейс, что девочка выросла на пропаганде в виде голливудских фильмов, что у нас тут все плохо, мы живем в говне, а там якобы эльфы, настоящие мужчины, богатые, обеспеченные, умные, красивые, талантливые. И вот она вот в таких вот розовых очках на него смотрит и с ним общается. А если бы произошло наоборот, если бы наш какой-то мужик поехал туда, такого бы разговора не состоялось бы.
As I said, I'm
Девушка сказала просто, у меня нет времени, и ушла бы.
giving her some attitude, which is necessary in this beginning bit to get that spice going, get that attraction going. And she's like...
То есть люди там не хотят общаться на улице. Они говорят, мне надо идти на работу, я занят, мне времени нет. И все, и это весь разговор.
I call her on the fact that, I mentioned the fable of Anastasia. It's one of the few things I knew about Russia back then. This is about 2 years ago, I think, this clip. So, but it just shows with little knowledge you can go so far. So just the fact that the most famous fable to come out of Russia, like the most famous fairy tale, Anastasia, I've created so much attraction just based on that. Because
Значит, девочку зовут Настенька. Настенька из Москвы.
she's going on about, oh yeah, we like it, but it's not so popular. And I'm like, come on, what are you on about? Like, the half of your population is named after that fable,
It's my favourite name. I think my wife's going to be called that.
Yeah, you keep saying it, yeah. So it's like, it's a very Russian, and it's my opportunity to get her. And as you can see, something happens, and it's happened in a few of the clips that we've been breaking down. It's this bit where they like sort of break down and crumple.
Мне первую девушку звали Настя. Я просто сидел, играл в Вовку, мне взяла, позвонила девушка Настя. Потом она попозже еще раз позвонила. И уже я почитал книгу, там какую-то пикаперскую, там какая-то женщина написала книгу сразу универсальную, там есть главы для парней и для женщин. Вот я почитал, рассказал то, что там чему там учат. Она повелась и пришла это ко мне 2 раза домой. Вот, случайно, это не та ли Настя? Я думаю, что-то я ее куда-то потерял, там искал, хотел вернуть. Может, она уехала в Америку? Потому что, ну, вроде похоже на мою первую девушку Настю.
Or in your
И по возрасту тоже это проходит. Ну, она моложе меня была.
presence when you say something so powerful, like, oh come on, and they're like, and it's like their way of showing, okay, like I capitulate in your.
Вот называется так. Девушка расстался, она уехала от меня в Америку.
To your vibe, basically, it's a very physical way of them showing that, and as you notice, like after these bits where they sort of laugh and just take. They're taken aback by your power.
А потом какой-то Винни-Пух к моей Насте пристает в Америке.
By your energy, they sort of come back and want to invest more and get your attention, and it's a wonderful dynamic. And when I don't have that, it never goes anywhere. Funnily enough, so it's crucial.
Cool.
No, I know, but you know, I'm a Muslim, and so there isn't any sign.
Ну вот это по росту похоже, цвет волос такой же был у Насти. Ну реально, я ее искал, ну куда она пропала? Она в итоге оказалась уехала в Америку.
I'm Russian.
There is, apart from the most symbolic Russian thing, the Russian doll.
Yeah, but not I think every person. I showed to some this shirt and said, what's that? I didn't know that it's really Russian material.
Oh, it's pretty old. There's a shop in North London where they sell Russian dolls. It's like
In London?
yeah, it's really fun. I forget what road it's on. It's in North London somewhere, but they sell these amazingly old sort of Russian dolls. It looks beautiful actually. It's very well handcrafted. It looks really nice. I'd like to have one.
But you should have it when you come to Moscow and take it like a souvenir. If you buy it in London, what's the point?
No, that would be rubbish. Then that would be just a normal tourist, you know. If I buy it in London, I would be sophisticated people who knows about it.
Рилли, это моя бывшая девушка. Это моя первая девушка. Она попала в видео. Она в Америке. Это, конечно, жестко вообще. Сейчас он ее поцелует, это вообще жесть.
Different vibe.
Maybe.
What's your name?
Masha.
This time we're
Нет, это все-таки Маша.
3.5 minutes in,
Yeah.
and you've asked your first question.
Ладно, все-таки это не Настя. Но она тоже была рыжей.
And I would challenge guys, go out and see if you can last a few minutes without asking a question. I think even if you could win like £1 million, you'd find it tough to go 3.5 minutes without asking a question. But it's a real it's an important thing.
It's a real skill to be able to do that, and that's years of practice there. And I think the fact that, like just before that, I've got so much to talk about, and I'm not relying on questions. Yeah, if they do come up, it's cool. And at 3.5 minutes, I am genuinely curious about her name, and I want to calm the energy down a little bit.
Да ладно, что ты рассказываешь тут? Это чисто жертва пропаганды, голливудских фильмов. Она считает, что Россия это плохая страна, плохая, а вы все это настоящие мужчины. Поэтому она с тобой разговаривает в таком лояльном тоне. В России бы такое бы не прошло. В России бы она сразу там тебя отшила бы жестко.
It's a bit too much, but I've established so many things in 3.5 minutes that she's like Marsha, my name, like she's so investing just even with her name. So I'm like, there was a bit where she goes, I'm telling a genuine story, and again, what we were talking about in the previous clip, where with sort of thinking all these visualizations or anything we read about, anything we see. So I saw at this Russian doll shop, and look, it's coming to you.
Ты лучше покажи, как ты знакомишься с этими, как сказать, девочками из Америки?
Because I'm being so social. You know, normally I wouldn't make use of things like that, but just because you're being such a social animal when it comes to being like a day gamer, it's come to my head and it's been useful to me in this situation. So I'm completely like, oh, you know what? I saw this Russian doll shop in North London where I live, and she's completely like, oh right, she's intrigued, and I'm doing that for a number of reasons. I'm showing a bit of knowledge. I'm showing I'm from London because she's interested in London. Always speak about what they're interested in. She's from Russia. She's interested in the fact that there's a Russian doll shop in somewhere in North London, and you know these things are handpicked as to why I'm not just coming out with them for no reason. If I'd start harping on about, oh, so what do you study in Russia? Oh, right, what do you do? Okay. No, I I studied media and I did this and I did that. Completely kills the whole attraction that's taking place here. So, and another point, again, I challenge her straight away.
Это все равно, чтобы если москвичи у нас бы подходили бы знакомиться к деревенским девушкам.
When she goes, oh, you should come to Russia and we have the best.
То есть москвич приехал бы на своей тачке и начал бы сорить деньгами какую-нибудь деревню там глухой. Вот тот же эффект был бы.
Russian dolls, and I'm like, well, then I'd just be a normal tourist, wouldn't I? If I came to Russia and bought some Russian dolls.
Правда, москвичу могли бы местные деревенские морду набить за то, что девочка пристает к их ним.
I'd rather go to a North London shop and buy Russian dolls, you
and
know.
You're right again.
Yeah, and she's like, maybe. You know, cool. So it's very cool. Masha.
Yeah, very, very Russian. Like
Masha.
M-A-C-H-A.
Masha.
Yeah.
What's it called?
And it's short for Maria.
It's not really. It's longer than Maria. Masha. Maria.
No.
Вот сейчас уже люди какие-то на русских похожи. Это что за метод? Может, это Москва, потому что сейчас я увидел людей, которые реально похожи на русских.
Maria, Masha. Masha is longer than Maria. That's not really short for.
But you know when you spell
И
it
вот только что прошел типичный американец.
in English, it's long, but when you spell it in Russian, it's short.
I just got one letter, maybe one letter shorter.
Yeah.
That's not a big.
But
You know.
that's how it is.
My name is Yad.
Yeah. Nice to meet
That's
you.
what we do in London.
Yeah, really.
That's how the streets people.
Okay.
I grew up in London on the street. No, you're doing it wrong. You're doing like this. You're like a snake. Okay, you've got to do it like. Well, just like that.
Ничего себе, какая девочка прошла. А вы говорите, что там в Америках нету красивых женщин на улице. Вон какая прошла только что.
Okay.
Then pump like a punch. Like that.
Okay.
Let's try it again. Good. You still went like this.
Кинестетика пошла уже.
Here we go.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe.
Считается, что когда женщину ты трогаешь, ты сообщаешь ее бессознательному, что она тебе нравится. Ну, правда, некоторые, допустим, как Фрэнк Фаррелли говорит, что нету бессознательного никакого, что это просто урна. Ну вот, а он считает, что оно есть, поэтому начинает трогать ее же девочку.
Maybe I'm not used to it. We don't do it in Russia.
Russia, what do you do? Do you say high five?
That, this thing, and shake hands.
Shake hands like this? Nothing special, nothing different?
No.
Okay.
And if you are a real friend, take a kiss, just one.
If you are real friends?
Yeah.
So not if you just met someone?
So we've got some kino, some touching going on, and it's the
Кинестетику он назвал как кино.
the handshake routine, I believe, from from the forums.
I read it somewhere. But I think it's that the best way to do kino in day game is when you integrate it into an actual subject.
Yeah.
So you just don't do it for the sake of it. Because at night game, I think you know more than anyone. You know when you kino and it doesn't have to be apropos anything.
Touching them all the time
Exactly.
for no reason.
Ну, по крайней мере, тут кино мы видим, что он довольно на таком высоком уровне потрогал, а то там как-то такая... Человек пройдет NLP тренинг и так нелепо техники применяет, что потом тренера просто сидят и ржут. А тут он довольно показал там, типа, как там это кулачками в Америке трогают, как там в России здороваются. То есть он так ненавязчиво, тонко так потрогал ее. То есть кинестетика довольно такая высокого уровня. На высоком уровне показал нам использование техники кино.
In day game, that just comes across as creepy.
Because the distance is naturally a bit longer,
Well,
and so you'd have to, it's a bit further.
Yeah, but also I think it's already crazy what's happening. So you don't want to over-egg the pudding again. You don't want to do that, like by touching her, and it's just too much. There's no need for it. Eye contact is crucial in day game, and remember, you're both sober. So eye contact means a lot more, yes, I would say, when you're both sober than when you're drunk, you know. So touching is a lot more intense when you're drunk. So I think it's a really good example of, you can have it as a routine if you want to go out there and just say, you know, I'm from Denmark and this is the way we shake hands in Denmark.
Ну, рутина — это чисто техника, это мистери. Ну, что, какую-то историю сейчас будет рассказывать девочке.
Can just make something silly up. No one's going to know. So
or even if you do it as a joke, it's still great.
Exactly. You know, your vibe actually should, at this stage, be I'm having fun for the sake of me, because you can see I'm having fun there. I'm going, you know, I grew up on the streets in London, and she doesn't understand that bit, but she gets my vibe of having fun. So, you know, there's this, you know, as I said, at first I'm sort of matching her rhythm, and then I'm going by my own rhythm, and then she's playing along. So I'm leading with my vibe. I'm leading.
And you're teaching her how to do it properly and stuff as well, right?
Exactly.
So that's worth something.
And there's a few more, you know, challenges that I sort of that with her name, you know, when I'm going, oh, what? That's not long. What? How can Marsha be a shorter version of Maria? It sounds completely like similar. And she loves it. You can tell from her body language. They love when you pick them up on those things, when you pull them up on certain things that they've perhaps not thought about, and you're just like, hang on a minute, what about that, what about this? And it's coming from playful energy. As I said, it's not an aggressive, over-investing energy. It's like, I'm having fun. That Marsha's not the same as, Marsha's completely the same as Maria. What are you talking about? That's not short for anything. If anything, it sounds longer. So you're just having fun, you know. And
you're saying what you think, and you're not being scared to do it as well.
Exactly, yeah. What if you just met a girl, so you kiss? So say if I'm friends with you, and we meet my friend who's a boy, and I say, this is Marsha, this is Andy, and you meet my friend Andy.
Yeah, you don't do it.
In England, it's very normal to kiss twice.
I know that.
Very normal.
Right, so we've got some keynote still going on. You touched her on the shoulders, you're talking about that stuff, so it is different to the other clips in that regard. There's a lot more kino there.
Yeah.
And you're talking about a scenario now.
Yeah, I love doing this. It's like day game version of role playing, I think. You know, you do this in night game, a much more intense version, a much more sexual version. But I think all you have to do in day game is do subtle ones, like, oh, so if you know, I have a friend called Andy, and if I'm like, Andy, this is Marsha, and all of a sudden you're in a house party scenario, you know, you've created this very comfortable visualization for her.
So we wake up in the morning and we just had amazing sex, and we go out and Andy's there, and I introduce you to Andy.
Yeah. And yeah, it does something. It really does something. So if you can incorporate that into your game, that's amazing. You can go out and practice all sorts of scenarios. It's fun as well. See what works best for you. And
because it's not directly connected to you, it's safer as well.
Exactly. I'm completely deflecting the attention off me there. I'm going, so would you kiss my friend Andy? So it's kind of like, oh, I wouldn't mind if you, why wouldn't you kiss my friend? I'm not attached to you in any way. So it's that kind of role playing as well. It's push and pull, definitely at its best, I think.
Nice one.
Yeah.
Just for porn, you just see somebody in the street, my name is Masha, my name is that, and you kiss someone, yeah? Just when you meet for the first time.
Yes, like this. You always kiss. We have to kiss them.
Okay.
There we go.
You're friendly. Russians are not that friendly.
Так, он поцеловал ее в щечки.
Yeah, because when you meet a person in Russia for the first time.
Ну, она тут явно рассчитывает, что он ее на ней, короче, женится. Она сделает грин-карду, потом разведется и половину имущества от себя отсудит. Тут явно такой расчет у нее уже, что она уже... Тут уже не он охотник, который получил поцелуй девушки, а тут это его это... Вы же поцеловали щечки, он уже поплыл, все. Грин-карта уже в кармане у девочки, у Маши.
Okay, you do nothing. There isn't any special gesture for meeting the person for the first time.
She's given you a compliment here.
Yeah.
And it's quite a Russian thing to do, to just say whatever they think. So you're very strange, or you're friendly, I like that. Or,
Yeah.
you know, they'll just say whatever they think.
Yeah. It comes from a powerful position, actually. When Russian girls do it, I always feel they do it from a place of authority.
Judging.
Yeah, like they've, you know, you've impressed them enough, and you can see from my face, I'm like, oh, really? Thank you for the compliment, and that's how you should always accept a compliment, by the way, just in grace, you know. But I'm completely humbled by it. I'm like, oh wow, and it makes me feel so. I blush a little bit, you know, and I feel like I've earned it. You know, and and when I go for that kiss, it's completely in the role play. So I'm like, oh, so we have to kiss now, like.
I guess
all right.
we have to.
Yeah, and it's like with a big smile on my face, where I'm completely not taking it seriously, you know.
And she leans in.
She leans in crucially.
Very quickly. She's not like, okay, let's kiss. She's like, yeah, kiss time, you know.
And it's amazing how in 6 minutes you can build so much comfort, and it is really that instantaneous day game. If in 6 minutes you're not building enough comfort for her to be relaxed and easygoing around you, it really does, that impression does last. Similarly, if you have built so much comfort and so much attraction in 6 minutes, that impression lasts. So you really sketch out the rest of the interaction. I would, from my experience, if I have to think back to what's really crucial as to why I get laid or not, or why something happens very quickly and why something doesn't, it is genuinely to do with that first few minutes of what the vibe is like, you know. So it's just so crucial that guys see what's all the elements that are taking place here, and go out there and practice it, you know.
Cool.
Have you met anyone on the street from Russia?
Not that, you know, it's not very common meeting people in the street in Russia.
No.
I don't know why.
Okay.
Maybe when you're in the bar, in the club, in the cafe, it's normal, but in the street, no.
To be honest, in London it's kind of the same thing. It's a lot more common, I would say. A girl wouldn't say, like an English girl. I met one of my best friends, who's an English girl. Her name is Sarah. I just met her when we were both like sort of having a coffee, and I just started talking to her, and now she's like one of my best friends. We're always like sort of
so nice.
calling each other when like I'm like, you know, I'm facing a problem, you know, things like that. So it's really nice.
Oh yeah, it's really nice. In Russia it never happens like that.
You're talking about how you do this, you know, sometimes you met your friend like that. And what is that? Is that to make her jealous, or is to show that it's no big deal, or
Yeah, I think it's
DHV, or everything?
I think all those elements together, it just shows that you're not so hung up about the getting her part. You know, the fact that you are relaxed enough to meet a really nice girl and make her your best friend who you can call up for advice. I think everyone can relate to that situation. We all have one person in our life. We go, if we're facing a bit of a palaver in our lives, we just go, right, okay, I've got to call this person up, see what they think. And it's so cool, the fact that I'm so close to someone that, and I'm making that scenario so relaxed for her. I'm like, in England, it's made perhaps a bit more common because I met one of my best friends, just, you know, we were both having a coffee. It's just making it seem so normal and visualizing it for her that, okay, this isn't just about him getting me. He's a genuine guy, and all these visualizations are going into her head.
And it's probably not an issue in this particular pickup because she, you know, I think she's fine with you, but otherwise, you know, showing that you have female friends and stuff, this shows you're normal, you're not a dodgy guy, you're not a murderer, and all of that stuff. is useful.
Yeah, it's just little. You're planting all these little ideas all the time, and I think if you explicitly can weave into your conversation just a scenario where you have a girl who's your best friend and who you don't try anything on with, it's like icing on the cake, you know, especially in this clip. So.
And she really likes it, but she's probably also, I mean, girls will see that girl as a threat in some way, or you know, something. There's some jealousy plotline potential.
Definitely, and there's this idea that she won't be like, okay, so he won't be clingy either, like, you know, those sort of things as well that you mentioned. Just mentioning that you have this girl in your life and another girl in your life, and you have my friend Andy who you should kiss, and just like it all points in the right directions to you as a man. You know, they're all. I think girls just don't see visually; they see emotionally. They see things emotionally. So when they're feeling and hearing all these things and emotionally building up a picture of who you are, you can become an Adonis very quickly, you know, just through what you say and what you communicate and sub-communicate, obviously.
Yeah.
And maybe we're just, you know, inside ourselves. I don't know, we're not that, you know, open to people from those people.
So was that why you come to London, and how old are you?
20.
20, so this is a good age to sort of see new things, experience new stuff, isn't it? And what do you have to do? Do you have to do a little bit more adventurous stuff in London?
Adventurous?
Yeah, be a little bit more adventurous, a little bit more crazy.
Maybe. Maybe.
Yeah. Well, that's cool, because in Russia, in Moscow, you grew up in Moscow? So in Moscow, because you grew up there, I mean, I'm guessing you wouldn't be able to do a lot of crazy stuff.
No, people do. Some people do, but some people some people do crazy things, and some people stare at them like, oh fuck, what are you talking about, what are you doing? It's like that. But maybe young people, teenagers, they do, you know, some crazy stuff. All teenagers do.
What I like here is the way you just hold eye contact, you look at her, she finishes saying the sentence and then she needs to carry on. It's just that solid eye contact and the pause, and you just make her, you know, do a little bit more work, keep adding more.
Yeah, and the vibe is so different from 5 minutes ago now. The vibe is completely chilled, we know each other, we've been through a few visualizations, a few scenarios, and now I can afford to ask
Мне все зудит от их нудятины.
a question like, what's the craziest thing you can do? And you can see the investment I'm getting.
По одному подходу ничего не скажешь. Тебе надо было сделать больше подходов.
And now, imagine if I asked that 5 minutes ago.
Wouldn't fly.
It just wouldn't. So.
Я не удивлюсь, что он эту девочку целый год искал, чтобы это видос записать.
And the reason is I have to point out that I'm not usually building up attraction this intensely, just because I would rather build things slowly but surely towards the bedroom.
Yes.
But in this scenario, I think you sent me out saying you got to do a kiss close. And
you were pushing it, and I think it's the same. You know, if I go out and meet a girl in a club, I'm not thinking I want to have sex with her in 5 minutes in the toilet. I'm thinking, you know, just relax, see what happens, and it has a natural speed. But if you were on the clock, you'd be like pushing things. So that's maybe why you're bringing up this subject. It's why you had the keynote in there and stuff.
Exactly.
Otherwise, it might have been,
I mean, I think a good solid number close would be perhaps not this intense, not being this intense, and the reason I'm being is because I've got to speed everything up. Everything that I do usually, which is a bit of keynote here, a bit of visualization here, a bit of what's your craziest adventure just before we go into my place. All of those things which perhaps would take about 10 hours of spending time with her, you know, just generally, but I've got to sort of expedite those 10 hours into a good 10 minutes. So that's what's going on here. And I would say it's great to see for a student who's learning this, like you are, the elements that go into the kiss close. But that kiss close, I would never want anywhere else apart from my bedroom generally, because nothing else happens. So
it's something you wouldn't normally do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the craziest thing you've ever done?
Craziest thing. I don't know. I can't remember it just from the sport.
Интересно. То есть он это говорит, какую безумную вещь ты бы сделала? Она вспоминает эту интересную вещь, и теперь он либо предложит либо поцелуй, либо к нему в постели пойти. После этого, потому что вводит ее в состояние. То есть это получается НЛПовский подход это к соблазнению.
Maybe it was just on a holiday.
On a holiday? So
Yeah, on a holiday. Yeah, not in Russia.
Tell me, maybe, I want to learn about Masha. So what's the craziest thing Masha has ever done in her 20 years of being alone?
Craziest thing. Let me think about it. I don't know. I can't do it on the spot. You know.
Как он на нее смотрит, а?
Like sharing my personal experience with a stranger. So like.
That's quite crazy. This is
Какое похотливое лицо, а?
quite crazy.
Yeah.
Something I want guys to pay attention to in this one is the eye contact, and not because you're doing anything really different in this, but because it's a great shot. So the camera, it was a woman, right?
Yeah.
Camera woman, Sarah, wasn't it?
It was Minnie from daygame.com.
Yeah, Sarah, who, aka Sarah, you were talking about, you know, as being the girl that you're really good friends with. So she did a really good job, and like I said, it's always there, but in this clip you'll be able to see really well your eye contact. And I would say that there is another story going on, you know, all times during your pickups. You've got the verbal story, but also the non-verbal story.
Yeah.
And if you pay attention to the non-verbal story, you know, if you look at the eye contact here, there's a lot of intensity that is generating some kind of sexual tension at the same time, I would say. And probably that's there, you know, a lot, but in this clip we can really see it. So guys, you know, watch for the eye contact in this video. Maybe go back and, you know, watch bits of it again to see it.
Yeah, that's a really nice observation about the different plot lines taking place, you know. Like, I think every guy who's going to get into day game will experience this firsthand, or even just in any scenario, you know, you've been talking to a girl and you could be talking about the zoo, but there's a different element taking place there. There's a energy, there's a certain energy you're feeling, you're physically feeling it, that you know this isn't just a conversation about a zoo, this is like something slightly...
And she knows.
Yeah, oh yeah, you both know, but what's cool about it is you don't verbalize it, you keep talking about the zoo like you don't know, but you both know, you're both communicating.
Короче, мы поняли, что надо делать. Нужно, короче, ехать в страну, где нас уважают, и, короче, например, в Африку, и там подкатывать это к девочкам. Либо вот видите там девочку черненькую, и к ней подкатываете. То есть они нас уважают. И вот на основании этого мне как-то была в гостях черненькая девочка.
We know what's going on, and it's hot for that reason. It's exciting.
Yeah.
But I reckon, you know what, Marsha, I reckon if we knew each other for like 5 years...
Больше меня удивило, я с ней познакомился, пригласил посмотреть фильм. Что меня удивило, она из дамской сумочки в 2,5-литровую бутылку пива вытащила, ну и гостила мне пивком. Я ни за что не догадался, потому что в дамской сумочке может быть 2,5-литровая банка пива.
If we knew each other for like 5 minutes, we will still get it on. You know, some people is just like that, you know? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You seem like a nice, friendly person. I'm a nice, friendly person.
James's old shop, wasn't it?
And, you know, it's, I think it's, if we maybe met at university, we still would be friends. And if we just met now for 5 minutes, we can just be friends. It's like one of those things.
Yeah, maybe.
It's quite nice.
Yes, it is.
So what brought you to London?
So we've got some verbal trickery going on, and is something that is pretty powerful.
Yeah.
You're talking about we'd still be friends in 5 years and all of this stuff. I like it. Were you consciously trying to do that to speed things up?
Yeah, like I think future projection is so powerful. Like I learned it off a natural mate of mine. Actually, he's just a really funny guy, really cool. Nothing special, but just just the average guy who gets along with women pretty well. And some of the I always tell my mates to tell me stories about how they get laid, because some of the things that happen naturally, guys who don't necessarily think about game or have game in their mind all the time, they come up with the best things because it's genuine, And he really liked this girl who is from another town, and she came to stay over at East Place, and it was like the third date. So it was like they both really liked each other, and she was afraid about what he might think. She was quite a small town, like country bumpkin sort of girl, and she was just a little bit hesitant about putting out on the first time they slept together all the way, and she just wouldn't go all the way. And my mate just turned around and said to her, well, listen, I think if we were on the 7th date or the 10th date or the 15th date, I think it's inevitable we're going to have sex, so whether it's now on the 3rd date or a month later, it really wouldn't matter to me. And then she just went, okay, I suppose we should have sex. And it's really powerful because she's visualizing, yeah, sure, on the 15th date when we're going to be together and have great sex.
Exactly, that's the key thing.
Yeah.
To make it inevitable. I mean, girls are scared of two things. One is that you can have sex with them and not see them again.
Yeah.
And the other being that you have sex with them too quickly and then think that they're trash.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
If you can deal with those two things, you're sorted. There was a girl recently in Moscow
who
we
both
met,
know, yeah.
and she said, oh, my friends, we were talking about the subject, and she said, oh, my friend said I should wait a month or 2 months, and I was like, you what? It's like, so what if we spent 24 hours a day together for 2 months? You'd be like, oh, okay, here it is. It's like ticked on the calendar, the day we can have sex. So I made it ridiculous. I made what they said ridiculous, and then I made it inevitable that we were going to have sex,
right.
And I made it, just a question of when, and then the final thing was I kept telling her that I know she's a nice girl and she's a good girl and she's not easy and she's not a slag and blah, blah, blah. So then it just made it a question of does she want to or not. So, once the objections were out of the way, it was easy. But the future projection is a big part of it.
Yeah, and it's quite a logical thing, actually. And a lot of guys are surprised that how logical I am with women sometimes, especially, I think, for example, when I try and take a girl back to my place and she might have some objections, oh, we've only been together for like 2 hours, I don't really know you. And I'm like, well, we're just going to go out for a cup of tea. And I logically convince her as to why and rubbish her her superstitions. Because if she feels comfortable with me in 2 hours, I genuinely think girls are sensitive enough to be able to have sex with you within an hour easily, because they can read so many things about you. It's just a question of logistics a lot of the time, why we have to wait in modern society. So
I just came up with a new routine.
Go on.
So you're talking to the girl and you've always got this situation where, she doesn't want to come back or she thinks it's difficult or something like that. And one of the things I often say, and I actually do this, I'll say, oh no, if I meet a girl, I'll just spend a lot of time with her, or I'll get a girl to move in with me really quickly, because it's good to test a relationship really fast, and then you don't waste any time, you find out what's right. And it's important to see someone in their own habitat and to see where they live. You can learn a lot about someone, so just come in for a tea, we'll have a tea, and it's a nice chance to see how we get on. Something like that, to talk about the speed of testing a relationship.
Yeah, I love that.
The way taking it slow is stupid.
Yeah, and you're taking completely the weight off the fact that she's coming back to yours now. You're putting the weight on like the future of what's going to happen, so she can completely relax now. The fact that she's going back to yours seems like a compromise, not like she's making a deal to come back to yours. So that's really cool, yeah. But yeah, I'm doing something very similar there, where I'm just going, listen, I think we're the sort of people that if we knew each other for 5 years, we'll still be the same as now, having known each other for 5 minutes. You know, we've just got that kind of connection. And
we've been talking 5 minutes. We could have been 5 years together and married and everything. You know, there's no difference really.
You know, and I'm saying, you know, if we went to university together, I reckon, you know, if we lived together, we'd just get along. You know, we're just that sort of vibe. We've got that vibe, haven't we? And she's like, and there's so much subcommunication going on there, because there's a point where I know I'm going to kiss her, which is like right at the end of what we just saw, this clip, and I'm like, isn't it nice? You know, I look right into her eyes and go, isn't it nice that we're like that? And she goes, it's nice, yeah. And we're both looking into each other's eyes going, I would rip your clothes off if this was a bedroom, you know. And it's that I can't project that obviously from a DVD, but genuinely you sense that, you know. And
I think if guys watch it, there's less than a second either side of what you say where it looks to me like a lot of sexual tension. You're not thinking about the words, you're just thinking about kissing her, I think.
Pretty much, yeah.
And we can't see what she's doing, but if she's holding eye contact, it's on, and if she's doing any more than that, then it's super on.
Yeah.
But it's the definition of sexual tension, and it's amazing to see it in the daytime after minutes.
Yeah.
So it's super, super cool.
Yes, I've been there once 2 years ago, and I really loved it. I wanted to come back again. That's the point.
So are you just traveling?
No, I'm not. I'm studying. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, just studying a summer language course, studying English. Oh, it's like, you know, chatting with. It's not really lessons. We're just meeting some people, playing some games, just communicating. That's it.
So you have friends there?
Yep. I'm staying here with my Russian friend. We came here together.
Oh, that's nice. That's really sweet.
Yeah, because I don't like traveling alone. I think it's, you know, you're traveling to some new country.
Как же это скучно выслушивать девушку, а?
And you don't have a person to share your emotions with. Of course, you meet some new people, but you know, it's just like you need to have a person that is close to you, that you know, but not just I've met you and I'm talking about you, but you know, you're real.
Yeah, I know what you mean. My best friend, his name is Craig.
Craig.
And we always go together. We recently went to Norway.
So she's made a strong statement.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, which is always trouble for girls, right? She said she doesn't like travelling alone. She wants to travel.
Oh, she
with a friend.
rubbished it. She said it's always cool to travel together. And I want to pick up my body language, which you picked up on.
It's horrible.
Yeah, traditionally it's looked upon as like no, but I think what's different there is that I'm comfortable. I'm genuinely like, the sun's a bit hot and I'm a bit like this at times, and I'm a bit like,
I'm a little teapot.
Yeah. And it's almost like, I get on with it, you know, I'm a bit, it's expressing a lot of disinterest at the same time, even though, you know, it might be construed as, you know, feminine body language, but the fact is I'm comfortable. That's what I'd do if I was there with a mate. So they feel comfortable because I'm comfortable. So.
Well, your body language is generally flawless, but that's only because you're always comfortable, and therefore anything you do is acceptable.
Yeah.
So, you know, you're gesturing quite a lot in this pickup. You cross your arms a lot in pickups. You know, you come in and then you go back. You do the hands on hips. You do all kinds of stuff, but it's all comfortable. This is just a funny one. If you freeze it when you're like, you know, standing there like that, it looks kind of funny. But you know, if she's there, all she's picking up on is not, you know, how wide apart your feet are, how alpha your stance is, or whatever. It's just, you know, is he comfortable?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wouldn't, but yeah, do some body language.
That's good. To Norway?
No, yeah, no.
And Oslo, fucking expensive though. Crazy fucking prices. Okay. But it was worth it. It was we had a really nice time, really nice people. We couldn't complain too much, you know. So we had a really nice time. And yeah, it was just nice sharing those experiences with someone you get along with. I know what you mean. It does make a bit of a difference, but also it is quite nice to just go somewhere alone, and just because I'm a very friendly person. So I went to New York recently by myself, and within like a few days I had like a few friends. I would call them and we would go out and they would invite me out.
American.
Yeah, American proper, like New York people. Because when I go somewhere, like if I go to Moscow, I would want to make friends with like proper Muscovites. No one who's just like come to Moscow, because I don't think I would get the full Moscow experience that way.
Yeah, that's true.
You know?
Yeah, that's true, but you know, I'm a bit afraid of traveling alone. Just like, oh, how about be alone and you see the like, just a bit afraid. So that's why I always travel with a friend.
So what you did there is you connected with her about traveling, but then you agreed with her, and then you presented the complete opposite point of view. And made a good case for it.
Well, I think it's important not to rubbish their, points of view. You know,
so you don't say no, you're wrong.
Yeah, it's firstly you're investing too much straight away. Why do you care so much? But what's cool is because you're trying to build a bit of rapport at the same time, just relate to it, and I can relate to it genuinely. I have been traveling with mates as much as I have by myself, and I can genuinely see both sides of the coin here. And all I'm saying is, I know what you mean, but also I think it's very cool to travel alone. It's much more of an experience. And she comes back with, oh no, but I'm just a little bit afraid. Then I come back with, oh, you don't seem like you're afraid, you're very friendly. And what happens here, my phone goes off and she goes, take it, answer it. And I don't fall into a loop, as you can see. You don't seem like a girl who's afraid. You seem like someone who's very...
You've got a cold.
Very confident.
You've got a cold.
Yeah. You seem like someone who's quite confident.
Yeah. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I'm just, a bit shy in Moscow, but when I come to a new city, it's like a small life for me, and I became a bit different.
Yeah. So you come out of your shell.
Yeah.
That's what we say in English. You come out of your shell.
I should remember it.
Yeah, it's a good one to remember. Just coming out of your shell.
Just answer it.
Because I know what's going on. I know what it is, and it's a long conversation. Don't worry about it. I like you got a tongue ring.
Yeah.
And it matches your colourful outfit.
Yeah, because I've got a lot of colors in it.
Yeah.
So it matches everything.
So she's like, take the phone call, and you're like, look, don't worry about that.
Yeah.
I think a lot of guys would say, oh, okay. I mean, first she's telling you what to
or
do.
they might think it's cool to take the phone call. Oh yeah, I'm just gaming, and it's just not cool. You've got to build. This is like a special moment, whether you like it or not. Day game has to be special. If you're pretending to be cool or you're pretending to be something you're not, it doesn't come across as nice, and she'll forever sort of put you in that probably not very full of self-esteem, because someone who's confident and someone who likes a girl just does what he likes, he doesn't do things because it might impress her. So if I did take it did cross my mind, I should maybe take this call and pretend, oh, I've got to meet you in 10 minutes, right? Yeah. But I was due to meet a mate, but I don't want to destroy the vibe here, I want to...
Well, you had connection and stuff already, and you have attraction, so it depends what's going on in the pickup, right?
Exactly. If she looked at me with puppy dog eyes going, oh, please don't pick it up, I'll pick it up, I'll be just like, 1 minute, hold up. But she's going, don't pick it up, don't go pick it up. I'm like, no, sorry, pick it up. She's commanding me to pick it up, and I'm completely going against that. I'm like, don't worry. But I address her as well. I'm like, I know what's going on, don't worry, because that's twice now I've ignored her. So it's nice to actually tell her. Little genuine details like that are important.
Otherwise it is a bit strange.
Yeah. And I'm like, listen, I know what's going on. I'd rather not address it right now. I'd rather talk to you. I like your tongue ring, and it's completely like, and she loves that. She loves the fact that I'm so in control.
And why did you say that you like the tongue ring?
Well, firstly, it matched her outfit. It was like the same sort of colour. Seriously, I was impressed. I was genuinely impressed.
Crazy.
It was a lovely little fashion moment. And then, I think just the fact that, I'm going for the kiss soon, and just making
Draw
those
attention to the mouth.
Associations, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And in the bottom is a different colour. Yeah. So it matches. I think the bottom matches this one, and well, this is
No.
That one, whatever you're wearing underneath there. It matches that. Wow, you're all matching.
Yeah.
It's quite unique for a girl.
Yeah, I don't think.
What are you wearing for your hair?
Nothing.
Эстетика продвигается. Тыкнул на картинку на ее одежде, на платье. Теперь уже за волосы потрогал.
I really like this bit here. I think it's the definition of a girl who is confident, who's sexual.
Кино это продвигается. Уже это. Она вначале от него отшатывалась, а теперь уже все. К нему привыкла. Уже потрогал за волосы, никакой реакции нет. Все, значит, уже можно дальше продвигаться.
I mention, and again, I mention it in a really nice, non-sleazy way. The fact that her tongue ring matches her panties, which you can't quite tell. Point to it, and she's just like.
How often does that happen as well?
Exactly. So it's like she's so like enamored with me at this point that she takes it in good faith, you know. And I think I can get away with it because of that reason. But then I say to her, I'm just trying to fill some space here, and I go, oh, I like your earrings. They're quite unique, which they're not. They're completely like, it was the most
generic,
sort of, boring thing about her. And she, like, straight away, another girl might have let that go, but this is what I love. They're tough cookies, Russian girls. They're completely like, she goes, no, I don't think so.
Yes.
You know, so even in the midst of all that, her being embarrassed, me mentioning her fanny, fanny in English means panties sometimes.
Is it?
Yeah. It's what, fanny covering thing, you know, the knickers, yeah.
You have very nice fanny covering garments. It's very attractive.
We can edit that.
No, we'll leave it in. It's all good. So the earring thing, yeah, I mean, that's anyone that wants to know about Russian girls, yeah, if you just say some bullshit thing for the sake of it, doesn't work. Like, oh, you're very tall, and she's not tall. She's like, what are you on about? It's a very strange thing to say, you know. She just say it like that.
Yeah.
So that was like your first fumble, but...
Yeah, completely, yeah.
So, where were you going?
I was just out because I finished work early today. So I'm just out and about, and I wanted to say hello to this beautiful girl.
Девушка уже надоела и стоять на ногах, хочет ему там в кафешке посидеть, пожрать. Желательно за его счет.
Oh, thanks.
Well, listen, I was going to go grab a drink for like 15 minutes till I go in with my friend. You want to join me for a drink?
I don't know, because I need to meet my friends.
When?
At about 4:30.
4:30? You've got 15 minutes. Oh, no, you haven't. You haven't got that. Okay, well, let me take her number.
Okay.
So we've got a little problem, little hitch in the pickup, which is that she's got to meet a friend, and it's what, 4:25?
Yeah.
So you've got like 5 minutes or less if she's got to meet her at 4:30.
Exactly, yeah. And I'm totally honest about it, you know. I think she was willing to come on the instant date, and I could have actually pushed it, but I am thinking about a kiss close at this moment, and I know the vibe's good enough, so I'd rather actually number close, and if nothing else, even if the kiss didn't go ahead, I think it would have been a good solid number close, you know, we could have used anyway. So I go for the number, and we genuinely didn't have enough time, so I thought, and her face dropped when I actually said, no, actually you don't have time, because she wanted me to convince her.
Or at least try.
Yeah.
Because it's a big sign of
Exactly, because she goes, I don't know. She doesn't say no, she says, I don't know if I have enough time. And all I could have said, well, listen, we'll go for a quick coffee, 5 minutes, and then I'll walk you to your friend. I'm sure she can wait 5 minutes, no big deal. It's your friend from Russia, you see her all the time. I could have easily argued it, and in most scenarios I do. Because a girl never really, especially if she's a nice, normal girl, you've been talking to her for 10 minutes, she won't just go, yeah, you know what, let's do a coffee. You know, because it's not really in their mind, it's not in their perspective for that day. It's not like saying to a girl who's in a club, oh, can I just speak to you over there, away from your mates? Because she knows what's going on. She's there to meet a guy. They're not, in day game, you've got to remember, they're not there to meet anyone. So they, like, if it's a nice, normal girl, she will give you a bit of argy-bargy if you're going, or maybe we can translate that for our American friends, bit of resistance, right? She'll give you a bit of resistance.
We need to include like a glossary with all like the yadisms. Yeah.
So the fact that she's going, oh, I don't know, you know, I'm not sure. It's a cool sign. It's a sign of normality on that girl's part. You know, she should be like that. And I love just going, you know, I've got 10 minutes. We're going to probably talk for another 10 minutes anyway. Let's just do it over a coffee. I need to get back to work soon, and I want to have an espresso with me. And I just like make a quick argument like that, and all of a sudden they're like, oh, you know what? Why not?
Something I like that you mentioned there is about, you know, the way she said, oh no, I've got to meet my friend.
Yeah.
She said, I don't know instead of no, and all of that stuff. And I think something that you do that most guys make the mistake, and definitely when I first started, I made this mistake all the time, is looking at the looking at it in a black and white way. And girls aren't black and white.
No.
Guys are. Guys, you know, you say to me, do you want to go for coffee? I'm like, yes or no.
Yeah.
I've got time or I haven't. A girl will say, oh, I shouldn't, or maybe, but I have, you know, there's all these shades of grey in between.
Completely.
And recognising what a girl, you know, is saying when she says, oh, I shouldn't, or I'm not sure, or I don't know, versus a hard yes or no, is really important. And it's not just in, you know, in a case where you invite her on a date, but all the way through the interaction.
Completely.
Anything she says should be, you know, it's that difference between men and women that should be paid attention to.
I completely agree, yeah.
I'll just, you know, take this one and text. This is my friend. I've got the same number, but the last digit is different.
Это что, 2000-е годы, что ли? Почему нет айфона у них?
But you said the last digit was different.
Last digit is different, but I don't know what is it. So put this one and text her, and she'll
Телефон из 2000-х.
tell my number.
Cool. And your name is?
Masha. I can type.
No, sorry, her name. But I don't need her name. I would just say hi, Marsha. She will understand.
Yeah, she will understand.
What's her name?
Anne. Yeah.
Okay.
Very simple.
Yeah. Oh, is that your phone? Is that your number?
No, this is not mine.
Her number.
No, this is mine. Oh, I can take yours and call you.
Take my number. Is it an English number?
Yeah, this is an English one. Okay.
07951.
This little freeze frame, it's a nice little moment, you know, you're side by side with each other, but that wouldn't normally happen, would it?
No, I mean, it worked in my favour that there was a bit of a palaver with her number giving, so I've used it to my advantage. As you can see, I'm leaning in there, and I know what I'm doing there. I'm sort of banging my head slightly onto her head, and
Ну, короче, попробуйте эту фишку. Он смотрит с ней в одно направление, причем близко, вторгаясь ее в зону ее пространства, вторгаясь. Попробуйте эту фишку.
It's a little bit of electricity building up.
Are you invading her space and just making sure she's comfortable with it? And that's
Вторгается в личное пространство, как он говорит, наш пикап-мастер.
a strong sign of interest, right?
Exactly. And at this point, I could feel that she was ready for a kiss. And let's just extrapolate from this and take it to the bedroom. This would be the part
Наш этот ученик пикап-мастера, гуру, говорит, что она уже готова к поцелую.
where you're on YouTube together, and I'm like, oh, show me a clip from Russia. Because I think genuinely the kiss we're about to do would, in my bedroom, have led to full-on intercourse. I'm trying to be PC about it.
I had wonderful intercourse last night. You had it was wonderful. I'd really like to have intercourse with that girl.
The PG market.
I think we've already blown that.
Way out of the water, yeah. But no, it was like, I think this is a great way to show what's possible in 20 minutes, less than 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But I think we can extrapolate and say if this was 3 hours and she ended up on my, because I live about 10 minutes away from here,
Yeah.
so I could have easily taken her back. It would have just been.
So you mean what if you were side by side watching YouTube and you had this kind of thing?
Exactly.
Then
I
it'd
do
be the
something
same.
which you do, I think, which I sort of picked up. Is something you teach, is a stealth, you know, touching, you know,
yeah.
just you know, you touch them, you brush against them and stuff like that, or just have your hands just nestling against
Yeah.
each other, and that kind of kino is just so powerful because it's and if you're comfortable in that situation, just like nestling a part of your body against hers, but completely not being overwhelmed by it, it's not affecting you, you're just like watching YouTube and you're completely cool with it, then that's sex, that's the money right there.
It's a simple test, but I think something cool here as well is that you took the opportunity.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know, you could have stood, you know, further away and whatever, but you had the excuse to get closer and you used it.
Exactly. And you know, there are several times where she's being like, perhaps a lot of guys would have got a bit emotional.
Они обсуждают кинотесты, то есть ты девочку трогаешь и смотришь, как она на тебя реагирует, прежде чем начать что-то делать уже более активное. Если видишь, что не реагирует так, как надо, то просто к другой девочке подкатываешь, либо продолжаешь как-то ее за ней ухаживать красиво.
Over the fact that she's being a bit difficult about her number, but I'm completely stoical about it. I'm like, cool, well, let's try this. Let's try one more time. Let me see if we can connect now. I'm completely okay with it, you know. You know, so it was a natural alpha test. I mean, she didn't mean to do it, but she's taken so long in giving me her number that if perhaps I was an emotional guy with a hang-up about my value dropping, or if I saw it as some sort of devaluing of my status,
То есть ценность у него может падать, это как?
then that's my problem. That's not really her problem. And that would have been a good test for her to see how I responded to that situation. But as you can see, I'm so cool about it. I'm so patient. I'm so easygoing about it. Oh, let's just try one more time. Okay, this is your number, cool. And it takes about a few minutes, but I'm completely like, you know, unaltered. My state's not altered about for it. So
Nice one.
yeah. Bring me, baby.
Did you get this?
No, you have to ring it. It takes a bit of time.
Заметьте, как он близко к ней стоит уже. Чувствуется, сейчас будет поцелуй, да?
Okay, let's try again.
Yeah, no, I think my friend's got photo.
Девочка прозвон кино явно хочет это. Грин-карту получить за счет мальчика.
Ringing now?
Yeah. Something strange.
Is it a Russian number you have?
No, an English one.
Oh, it should ring. I think it's because my friend was trying to call me at the same time. Call me now.
Okay.
One more time.
Ну, что он так странно одето? Это 2000-е.
Oh my god, it doesn't work.
Maybe you don't have credit.
Maybe. So anyway, text my friend and she'll get.
Это то время, когда я только делал первые подходы свои. Я же показывал вам этот блокнотик. Вот. Делал первые подходы. Вот. Типа один подход, одна подпись. Типа доказательство, пруф, что ты подходил. Вот. И таких листочков много. Вот еще. Еще.
You'll get my number, okay?
I will. Give me that. There you go. I was gonna do something crazy. Okay.
Oh no.
О, вот как надо делать. Он ее взял за руки. Она показывает отрицательную кинореакцию.
Go on.
И сейчас будет то, чего мы ждали.
So we're holding hands,
Yeah.
and I would say, you know, we talked about earlier how you're doing something a little artificial, maybe. You know, you're pushing things a little bit faster than you normally would. So you probably wouldn't normally do this, but it's a pretty cool
Я думаю, Маша затерпит ради грин-карты.
situation, and you just told her to give you.
Well, I think I just needed a bit of intensity, and to be honest, I didn't plan that, but I think part of being a PUA, part of being in the game so much, so immersed in all these ideas, you just naturally things come to you. So I've probably read it at some point, or probably thought about it at some point. So it's just come to me now, and I just thought there's not enough intensity there for me. If I went for the kiss, it just wasn't intense enough. But if I held the hands, it would just cement that a little bit more, that step towards it. So it was a bit of a bold move. I went, give me your hand, but as you can see, she complied so well, and it's to do with a compliance ladder as well. So if she gives me...
Я тут калибрую, что она испугалась от такого захвата, и кину тут отрицательное.
a hand, what's stopping her from doing something slightly more outrageous? So, you know, so that's the idea.
Ну, она отшатнулась, когда он ее взял за обе руки, и это как трактуется, что не надо ее целовать.
Listen, it's gonna be cool.
I'm afraid of you.
Don't be afraid of me. Don't be afraid of me. Do you feel afraid, like, just holding my hands?
No.
Okay, that's cool, right? Okay, you know how you said it's like, it's crazy for people to, like, just kiss on the street?
Oh my god.
How
Yeah,
crazy would it be if we just kissed for a bit?
Ну, тут он сказал, что прямо словами думает о чем? Думает о поцелуях на улице. Девушке понравилась наглость парня, и она решила ему дать.
That would be so fucking cool.
Oh, it's crazy.
I know, that's why it would be so fucking cool. Just for a bit. Nice.
This is very nice. It's a proper kiss.
Yeah.
It's not just a, you know, half-baked one.
It's a smooch, isn't it? It's proper, like, me can't believe my...
Вот зачем это нужно было взять ее за руки. То есть закидываешь ей руки на свои плечи и засасываешь.
My luck. Can't believe it's happening. Because, you know, you don't often go for that. It's only because you said, you know what, it would be cool to get a kiss close on camera.
Like, why don't you kiss a girl in the middle of the street in the daytime before the camera runs out? And, you know, preferably short enough that, you know, we can make a nice video from it. And you're like, yeah, all right, I'll give it a go.
Yeah, I genuinely, like, this is the first time I ever asked for a kiss as well. Like, I'd never, like, before that we shot a few clips here and there, and it was always like, what's your number? And this time I just felt, you know what, I just remembered the fact that I should do one, just go for it. And I didn't think it would happen. I just thought it was a bit ballsy, it was a bit out there, but it just shows what, you know, if you've got a powerful enough vibe, if you've got enough energy for it, it's, you know, things will happen.
It's a huge deal to every guy watching it. You know, they'd be like, fuck, you know, just kiss that girl.
Yeah.
But for, you know, in the scheme of things, it's a kiss.
Yeah.
She had a connection with you. She was interested. She was feeling the vibe. And it's just the icing on the cake. It's a nice memory. It's a powerful thing. It doesn't mean that, you know, she's a slag or she's going to go home and cry and regret it. You know, it's never going to be something like that. But you stacked everything up. You had the keynote. You had the bit where you kind of went next to her with the phone. You had the tests. You had the bit where you had the sexual tension with the eye contact. Sensing that it was on, and then at the end you're standing apart and you're like, how do I go for the kiss? So you go for the hands first, and then you did it with the verbal stuff, you know, talking about doing something cool and crazy.
And you know, she goes, I'm afraid of you, and I completely laugh it off, you know, like, how ridiculous is that? Come on. We're in the middle of the street and it will just be something crazy, and she goes, yeah, it'll be crazy, and I'm like, that's why it'll be cool, it'll be crazy.
And she said maybe.
Yeah. And so all those signs, you know, maybe in my books, whenever a girl says that, it's pretty much yes, you know. So you got to read it as that. So I just, you know, I was so overwhelmed by the whole situation. As I'm kissing, I'm like, oh my God, anything's possible, you know. And you're always, you know, I think as a day game, as a PUA, you're always learning, you know. That's what's so cool about it. So when you push the boat out, when you push yourself to your limits, you discover things that you just...
Ну, не знаю, не знаю. Тут Маше понравилась твоя наглость, поэтому она решила дать поцеловать себя наглецо. А если бы ты с американкой такой бы замутил, она бы сказала: опаньки, насильник, все, тебя за изнасилование на улице бы посадили уже.
You know, weren't expecting, perhaps.
Yes, and I think in this case you're really...
Если бы феминистка какая-нибудь попалась тебе, американская, то тебя бы отменили уже давно.
Pushing things
Exactly.
further than most PUAs would.
Further than I would ever would.
Yeah, and never mind could, because most PUAs couldn't even do it. Yeah. But guys don't need to like copy this model minute by minute, but they can think about, you know, over the course of getting her number and then going on a date, that it would be the same, you know, just stretched out.
Do you know what's cool about this exercise, actually? Just the act of going...
Так что мы теперь научились целоваться с незнакомыми девушками за 1 час общения. То есть надо, короче, из Москвы ехать в глухую деревню, там находить какую-нибудь барышню, с ней заговаривать, какую-то кинестетику там проводить аккуратную. Потом все приближаться, взять телефон, заговорить там обычно, ну, что-то делать такое необычное в жизни, сумасшедшее, какие-то приключения, чтобы ввести его в состояние такое, и потом уже взять за руки, закинуть себе на плечи и поцеловать. Или можно, допустим, и к девушкам, которые по обмену приехали учиться из Африки, то же самое, к ним подходить по той же схеме и засасывать. То есть нужно именно такие люди, чтобы к тебе относились положительно. То есть, ну, вот эта русская девушка относится очень хорошо, иммигрантка, к американцам. А, допустим, деревенские девушки очень хорошо к москвичам относятся. И, соответственно, африканки очень любят русских.
For a kiss. For example, if I'm having a bit of a slow day, even now, sometimes just not, you know, my brain's just not woken up properly yet, and I go out onto the streets and I've had me espresso and I'm still a bit like sluggish about things, and I've been talking to a few girls and it's going okay. I ask for a kiss. Like instead of a number, or instead of just just having a nice, pleasant chat which leads nowhere, I completely wake myself up because it's such an adrenaline rush. So when you really push yourself, push the boat out with your adrenaline, something amazing happens. I do this constantly with my students. I get them to do something. If they're having a hard time just connecting, being social, I get them to do something crazy. And that could be, I did it with a student recently. He went up to, he had a fear of hugging. He experienced something as a child that made him be very reticent about just the simple act of hugging a girl. I sent him into 4 models who were waiting outside Topshop and got him to get a group hug within 2 minutes. I said, you've got 2 minutes to ask for a group hug. And they all hugged him. And after that, he just couldn't stop instant dating gorgeous women. And it was one of the best moments in my teaching career just to like see that. But it's just a great example to, I think when you go for crazy things, you sort of, your parameters are then so widened. Then when you do go for simple things like asking a girl for her number or asking her out on a date, it just really does become very breezy. For your vibe and for your energy. So it's a really worthwhile exercise doing what you just saw me do, just to wake yourself up and get connected and get you know, into that mode of doing the things that you want to do, but without all the anxiety, because all the anxiety washes over you. You know, once you go for a kiss, what's asking for a number?
Exactly. You know? Yeah. So push it.
Definitely.
But in a respectful way.
In a nice way.
Oh my God, crazy.
That was fucking cool.
Yeah, it was.
Alright, let's do it again some other time.
Okay. You promise you'll text me, okay? So see ya.
Take care.
And we've got the most solid possible ending, which is the "you better bloody text me, you better." After that, and plus we had to, you know, wait for the kiss to go on and on. But it's, you know, it's a fantastic one, and I think it would. If I watched that when I was sitting in my house, you know, in Cambridge, thinking, oh, you know, I need to go out and do stuff, I'd find it really inspiring.
Cool.
You weren't looking your best, you know.
No, not at all.
It just showed, you know, how what is possible in just a few minutes.
Yeah.
You got any final words for the guys after that clip?
I think genuinely, you know, don't expect too much after the kiss close. Don't make it into this task to get a kiss close and expect it to lead to amazing things, because it won't. It is one of those spontaneous moments that you get a girl who isn't expecting anything like it in probably her life to do, and she'll rather put it down to this amazing moment she had in London or wherever it was, and she'd rather just go, that was amazing, I don't want to ruin it, I don't even want to touch that. So you would sort of experience that if you're going for a follow-up. I would say don't go for the kiss close so much for getting laid at the end of it, but more for your vibe, you know, to develop this intuition, to develop this energy where you're completely just on it, you're connected to how girls think and what they want, and because I think it's a fantastic endorsement of your skills, you know, if you can achieve it. But as I said, if you're starting out and you're feeling intense about asking for a number, go for a kiss close. That's literally the best exercise, the best tip I can give you, because when going for a kiss close and then going for the number becomes the simplest thing.
So you say something like, oh, listen, we've been talking for a few minutes and I was going to go for your number, but
Yeah.
why don't we do something crazy?
Yeah,
How about a kiss?
Exactly.
And if she says maybe, boom. If she doesn't say no, basically, it's on.
The thing is, it's not even about that. It's not, even if she just like runs away. The fact is, you've done something ballsy, your whole anxiety just washes over you.
Yeah, and it's not like you're going to spontaneously combust or she's going to slap you. Nothing bad's going to happen.
No.
And yeah, then nothing else will be scary after that.
Exactly.
Cool.
It's like a social espresso. You just need to do it. Get out of your system. It's fantastic.
And then
Заметьте, ученик у него причмокивает, а наш гуру не причмокивает.
another lesson that I learned years ago from Steve was, you know, seeing how quickly he pushed things. You don't find out what you can do until you go for it, and until you start trying to do things faster and earlier and more. You don't find, and you don't get good at reading the signals. So you knew you could kiss her, but most guys in that situation might not know. But until you push it a bunch of times, you don't know when you can.
But that it stood me in such good stead doing stuff like that for when I'm in the bedroom. You know, I know now.
Оцените, какая у него поза такая. О, такая поза, какая у него. как он расположился. Просто король жизни.
That when a girl's back on my bed, I know whether to go for a kiss and exactly when.
Yeah.
And it's such an invaluable skill. It's priceless.
Because you never get rejected, basically. It's the thing, you know.
Значит, вот типичная форма пикапера: джинсы, ремень, часы, рубашка.
Sounds too good to be true. Never get rejected for a kiss, but when you know how to read the signs, it's reality, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Nice one.
Ну что ж, вот такая вот серия вышла. Я, пожалуй, на этом прервусь. На этом первый урок редпил заканчивается. В следующей части мы уже продолжим изучение этих знаний. Так что поиграть сегодня в этот суперседюсер не получилось. Так что спасибо за просмотр. Увидимся в следующей серии.